Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning. Oh my God. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always be a blessing. Let's not forget that, me dear. Okay, we got some things we have got to get into. This is absolutely insane. We got some breaking news. Well, you know, it's a few hours old now, but it's breaking news for me. Saw first thing when I woke up this morning. All right, but this morning has been insane. It's been a very busy morning, to say the least. All right. So thank you guys so much for your patience. Okay. I tried to get on here as quickly as I could, but had to get some things in line, get some things hopping so we can get this conversation rolling. So please do me a favor. Before we get into everything, do me the solid. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs. So make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Please and thank you. Follow mother lovers on those platforms, especially on that Facebook. I cannot stress that enough. Facebook, baby. Follow that Facebook, baby, if you have Facebook. Okay? Make sure you're following. There's a lot of updates going on over there, and there's a whole lot of shaking going on right now. So hit that follow. Subscribe here on my main channel, right here on YouTube. Go to my second channel on YouTube, The Pascal Show Clips. I got a third channel. Still trying to find time to get that third channel up and running, but check it out. Subscribe over there if you just feel like supporting all the way through, all right? To my third channel, Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there as well. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all on all of these platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, whenever, because it is random and a lot of times there's breaking news and I'm just hopping on to give you guys the news that you need. So make sure you hit that notification bell, please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Consider being a part of the family by becoming a member. Hit that join button down below. Check out that Patreon. And of course, check out pascalmerch.com. pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. pascalmerch.com. Okay, guys. We got to get into these things right now, right here. So, something I did not expect. Well, did I not expect this? Yes, but no at the same time. Given the atmosphere, given the vibes, I figured that this was going to happen at some point because of what we heard surrounding this particular situation before this situation actually happened. And we're getting straight into the breaking news, of course. Let's just get straight into the meat and potatoes. All right. Don Lemon, not Donald Trump. Don Lemon has been arrested. Here's the thing. Not surprised, but then surprised at the same time. But then not surprised. You see what I'm saying? I feel like a tennis ball. I keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, I'm surprised, but then I'm not, but then I'm not, but then I am, but then I am, and then I'm not. You know what I'm saying? It's just back and forth like crazy. The reason why I'll explain throughout the course of us covering this part of the show, okay? There's just a lot of things going on, right? Like I said, there's a whole lot of shaking going on, a whole lot. And the thing is this. What happened here, I got a lot of questions about, because I want to know, what did they find that would garner them to go out to LA to arrest Don Lemon? Because they didn't have it before. Remember, they tried to put charges on Don before, and they were denied. Remember that. They were denied the access to press charges on Don Lemon. So what is it that happened now? What was the change? What changed the tides, as some might ask, or some might say? What changed the tides that got him arrested in California? That's something I'd like to know. Por favor, what is it? Because they said he can't be touched before. Then remember, Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the DOJ, okay, got pretty mad. Allegedly, she was livid, given the fact that she tried to press charges on him and it didn't work. And, I honestly, truly think that it was a situation where we had the other Don, Teflon Don, Donald Trump, basically getting in Pam Bondi's face, basically saying, why can't you get him arrested? Why can't you make that happen? Right? And she's like, I'm trying, sir. I'm trying. Right? I'm trying, Mr. President. I'm trying. And I think that's why she was pissed off. I'm just, that's just me assuming. That's just me painting the story in my head. Right? Or she might have just been really in her fifis about the situation because she just didn't like the fact that the DOJ couldn't press charges on him. Even so, Don Lemon has, said, hey, I ain't got touched. They tried to take me, but they couldn't. You know what I'm saying? And people were rejoicing. Even myself. I was like, hey, I don't think he did anything wrong. Truly, I don't. He was in there. He was documenting. He was interviewing people. He was not protesting. He said it a bunch of times that he's not a protester. He's just there chronicling. Now, sure, I'm sure he could get trespassing or something of that sort, but the full Triple K act and this other one, I'm forgetting the other one right now, the Face Act, if I'm correct, that's a little bit surprising to me because in no way, shape, or form did I see him going up to people trying to stop them from praising the Lord. I didn't see that. I saw protesters do that. Oh, for sure. Plenty of protesters were out there, okay, in that room, okay, in that church, stopping people from their praise, from worship. That is a problem. But was Don really doing that? Now, I don't know how they figured it out, how they got him, etc. Of course, we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. But again, I don't think he did anything wrong, in my personal opinion. Now, of course, everything's subject to change. If there's something within, technically he did this, and this, therefore, he got arrested, then that's what it is. You know what I mean? As some people say, Bob's your uncle, right? Bob's your uncle. There it is, right? But I have yet to see that yet. But we'll see. We'll see. We will see, right? And what say you guys? Some people, and I'm going to put a poll up here in a little bit, but I'm going to say it now. Some people are rejoicing, very happy about this whole situation, right? How dare you do that to Christians, good Christians, right? And then other people are pissed off, thinking that this is wrong. What say you? What are your thoughts on this? Me, like I said, I'm surprised, but then not surprised at the same damn time. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. But I'm not. But I am. Because knowing how the administration works, they will try anything. Once you're under their radar, once Trump or any of his team gets their sights on you, they will find anything they can to take you down. Look at all of the other people that have had their James Comey to Letitia James, etc. Look at all the walrus. I forgot his name, but the walrus guy, he looks like a walrus to me because his mustache, you know what I mean? But anyway, I forgot his name, but it escapes me right now. But you get what I'm saying. Like he will sit there and he will go scorched earth. He will look under every single rock, nook, and cranny, trying to find something to take them down. That's just how he rolls. So once you get in his sights, it's a wrap, son. Why do you think As much as he says he doesn't think about this person, he really does think about this person a lot, almost to an obsession. Ilhan Omar, perfect example. Perfect example of somebody who's just now gotten under his nails and he just can't pick them out. He just can't scrape it out. And he's just like, oh, I need to take this person down. This person needs to be, she needs to be fired from her job. She shouldn't be part of the house. She blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? As soon as he gets focused on a particular person, there's no letting go. It's like a rabid dog. Once he latches on, he's on it. And he will turn every single person, every minion, every pawn that he has in his chess, on his chessboard, he will throw them all to that person and go scorched earth. Or as Charlie Kirk would say, go max, right? Go max, right? Go full max, or whatever the hell it was, right? So now he's doing this with Don. I'm not surprised, like I said. Okay. Now I know that Todd Blanche he's having a press conference. Mel just said that in the chat. And or said something about Todd Blanche releasing the files, the Epstein files, fully redacted. What? We're going to have to talk about that too. Like I said, there's a lot going on today. All right. There's a lot going on today. Nonetheless, we are here. All right. Don Lemon has been arrested. Let's take a look at this. This is insane. Insane. So journalist Don Lemon and 3 other people were arrested Friday in connection with an anti-immigration protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church and increased tensions between residents and the Trump administration, officials said. Lemon was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he had been covering the Grammy Awards. Well, he's supposed to be doing the Grammy Awards, like the red carpet. He's supposed to be covering and live streaming the Grammy Awards, okay, in California. That's the reason why he's in LA. And the Grammys are this Sunday. So I don't know if he's going to have time to, I don't know if he's going to get out of jail in time. You never know. He might be in there, processed, and spat right back out, within hours. And then he'll be out there covering the Grammys. Hopefully that's the case, but we don't know. We will see. Only time will tell. But what's interesting, though, is I feel like this is just some sort of theater. Remember, he said, everyone knew where he was going to be. He said he was going to be in LA. He said he was going to be covering the red carpet event for the Grammy Awards. So, of course, they're like, oh, well, I'm sure he's over there by now. And I'm sure he's already said it on his show. Like, hi, guys, I'm out here in LA. You know what I'm saying? So this is very, 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 very interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting that they did this. Is this some sort of political theater? I don't know. But they arrested him while he was about to do something pretty big for his channel. It's massive. I don't think anybody has done a red carpet live stream event on their, on their YouTube channel. Aside from me, but I'm saying like doing the Grammys, like the Oscars, the Grammys, the Emmys, etc., the Golden Globes, whatever, right? So this is a very interesting thing, though. But of course, he was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he had been covering the Grammy Awards. Okay, his attorney, Abe Lowell, said it is unclear what charges Lemon and others are facing in that protest that he did in the city's church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Okay, so yeah. So Lemon's arrest came after a magistrate judge last week rejected a magistrate judge rejected the prosecutor's initial bid to charge him. So I don't know. Maybe they went to a whole other. I don't know how they did. I don't know what they did. Okay. Now we already know about him being fired because apparently he'd been, there's a lot of allegations about Don Lemon. Okay. And how he was on set, type, diva, type of, you know what I mean, diva type behavior, etc. All right. But that's a whole other conversation in itself. I'm not here to judge him on that. I don't know anything about that. You see what I'm saying? But Don has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. This is what his lawyer said in a statement. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. So, and we're going to look at the full statement here in just a little bit. But Attorney General Pam Bondi, like I said, posted on social media Friday morning confirming the arrest of Don Lemon and the others who were present during the protest at the church, where a local official was, or with ICE, serves as a pastor as well. At my direction, this is what I guess she posted. This is what she posted on social media. At my direction, early this morning, federal agents arrested Don Lemon, Traherne Jean Cruz, Georgia Fort. Oh my Lord, Georgia Fort too? Oh damn. Georgia Fort. Okay, hold on real quick. Sorry for the left turn, but if you don't know who Georgia Fort is, and if you've never seen the Benjamin Dixon show, she used to be a correspondent or, a co-host on that show for a long time. And then she branched off and started doing her own thing. She does a lot of Minneapolis local news type of coverage. She's a reporter. So she was also the person that was out there capturing this situation. She was in the crowd, if that makes any sense. She was holding the camera, or someone was holding the camera, right? Wait, hold on. Who live streamed her arrest? Allie, who live streamed her arrest? Georgia Fort? Oh, word. We're going to have to look that up, baby. We're going to have to look that up. Okay. Shannon just said that on Facebook. Thank you so much for the comment, Shannon. Georgia Fort is the one I saw being taken. Whoa, that's crazy. Whoa. Wow. Okay. I'll look it up. I promise. We're gonna get to that. I promise. That's wild. Okay, so I've been on shows with her in the past. She's very wonderful. Okay. Very wonderful reporter, very talented. She's very good at what she does. All right. But yeah, she was on Benjamin Dixon's show for a minute, and then she branched off and started doing her own thing. Right. Damn. But that was some of the video that we were showing when we did that deep dive into what Don Lemon did. Right. His live stream. And then I was like, wait, there's more. So I went over there and I found out that was Georgia Fort's live. And I'm like, damn, there's hers as well. This is crazy. Crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Don't worry, I'm gonna look it up. Classics like, yeah, she recorded her own arrest. That's insane. But anyway, Georgia Fort as well. Okay, so Jamel Lydell Lundy. Okay, as well. Okay, in connection to the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. So all of them, Don Lemon and 3 other people arrested in connection to this, as they say, coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Now, I got something I got to say here real quick, but I'm going to read this last part, or this paragraph here really quick. Since he left CNN, Lemon has joined the legion of journalists who have gone into businesses for himself, independent journalism, posting regularly on YouTube. He hasn't hidden his disdain for Trump. That's very true. In fact, I feel like, as quoting Charlie Kirk, he's gone full max. He's gone max. Okay, on his disdain for Trump. And I feel like because he doesn't have the reins anymore, he doesn't have the firewall of CNN anymore. He could just say exactly how he feels about what's going on. But that's his constitutional right. Period. That shouldn't be a situation of, oh, just because you don't like Trump, that should automatically mean you should be attacked or put, in jail because you don't like Trump. There's plenty of people that don't like Trump. Should all of them be arrested for not liking Trump? Freedom of speech, guys. Yet during his online show from the church, he said repeatedly, I am not here as an activist. I'm here as a journalist. I think that part is very, very important, ladies and germs. Okay? I think that's very important. He didn't go out there and go, he wasn't saying Renee Good's name. He wasn't out there saying F ICE. He wasn't saying ICE out. He wasn't saying any of that. He constantly said, I am not here with the protests. I'm not here with the protesters. I'm here as a journalist. I'm here to chronicle this. Sir, can you just tell me what your thoughts are about this whole situation? Blah, 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 blah. He wasn't all up in people's face being like, you can't pray. You can't pray. You call yourself a Christian? What the hell's wrong with you? You call yourself... That was what other protesters were doing. They were in the wrong. That's what I think. They walked into a private property. They walked in and technically it's the truth. They stopped people from actually worshiping. That's where they broke the law. Those protesters did that. The journalists, though, they walked in to document, to chronicle what the heck was going on. I'm telling you right now, if this shoe was on the other foot, these journalists would not be getting hit like this. I guarantee you. Don Lemon if Don Lemon was some hardcore right-leaning if this was Nick Shirley, come on now, and he was chronicling this, they'd be like, he's a damn patriot. Thank you, sir, for your service. He's a patriot, right? If Nick Sorter walked in there and was documenting this whole thing, I'm just saying. It's kind of ridiculous, but moving on. He described a scene in front of him and interviewed churchgoers and demonstrators. By the way, I'm reading this from the Associated Press, just so you know, because I know some people be like, this is a biased article. No, they're just stating facts. Shortly after the first attempt to charge him fell through, he predicted on his show that the administration would try again. Yes, they would. What else is new, though? We know that once they sink their teeth into you, there's no letting go. There is no letting go. Like I said, a rabid dog. They latch on to that booty meat and they hold on for life. Okay? And guess what he said? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. That's not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead. Make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Just do it because I'm not going anywhere. This is what he said. That's what Don Lemon said in a recent live stream. Now, local independent journalist Georgia Fort live streamed the moments before her arrest Friday on Facebook Live, saying agents are at my door right now and that they had an arrest warrant and a grand jury indictment. This person, okay, so Georgia Fort said, I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press because now the federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protest a few weeks ago. So she added that she knew she was on the list of defendants that is under seal. A prominent civil rights attorney and two other people involved in the protest were arrested last week, which we already know about, right? And prosecutors have accused them of civil rights violations for disrupting the city's church service. So we have got to hold on. First and foremost, I need a second so I can find this Georgia Fort live stream, which won't take very long. But I do want to play while I'm looking this up. I'm going to pull this clip up. Obviously, a lot of people, the world, the country is reacting to this situation. Like I said, some people are doing damn near backflips about this situation, and some are very upset about this. Let's take a look. And I will say this. Tian, hopefully I'm saying that. Tyann, hopefully I'm saying that right. Nick Shirley wouldn't have gone in a church. Are we sure about that? Are we sure about that? Like I said, he may not have. Like I would have, like me, honestly, I would have Googled that. I would have Googled it just to be like, hey, can I even walk into this mug before even walking into that mug? Right. And I would have trusted AI. I would have trusted Google AI. If Google AI said, no, baby, you keep your ass outside, I would have been like, all right, bet I'm going to be outside. And I'd be like, hey, how did it go? You know what I mean? How did it go in there, protesters? That's just me. Because I'm like, and it's a place of worship, but it's still private property, right? So I would have Googled that real fast before walking in, And if Google said, no, you keep your ass outside, baby, because that's illegal, then I'm outside, baby. I'll be out there in the snow. I don't care. Freezing my butt off. I don't care. You know what I mean? But that's me. So maybe Nick Shirley would do something like that, and just go into the Google's love and type it in. But then maybe not. You know what I'm saying? He might have gone in. You never know. We don't know because it didn't happen to him. But in my mind, if he was to go in there and to actually document and show this, this would have been retweeted by a freaking JD Vance, Trump, Stephen Miller, Dr. Evil, all of them. Okay. And they'd be like, he's a true patriot. He's a true truth seer. He's a truth teller. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's listen to this. I'm going to look up the Georgia Fort situation. Hit that like button down below, dagnabbit. Okay? Hit it. Don't forget to subscribe. We got a lot more, we got some things to talk about today.
The department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest, and that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case. Again, I'm directly quoting from Don Lemon's attorney here. The statement ends by saying, this unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. That's the statement from Don Lemon's attorney on his arrest last night. We're covering this here on CBS News as our reporters try to confirm information with their sources in LA, in Washington, and in other places. But it appears that this could be connected to Mr. Lemon's efforts as an independent journalist to cover anti-ICE demonstrations in Minnesota. We were just speaking with our Lilia Luciano, who has been reporting extensively from the ground there in Minnesota, who made the point that after this incident, which you're seeing on your screen, there was an effort to bring charges against not just Don Lemon, but other protesters there. But a federal appellate court declined to file charges, and they also declined to order a lower court judge to sign arrest warrants for 5 people. That includes Lemon. One of the 3 judges said he felt there was probable cause to justify the arrests, but multiple people were charged in connection with that demonstration.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm watching this, of course, but I'm also getting the footage. Georgia Fort. That's some scary stuff. You got agents like, we're gonna see it in a second, but these agents are all like peering through her windows and stuff, like at her crib. That is scary stuff. But let's continue. That's wild, baby.
And it was also linked to an ICE official who appears to be one of the pastors at that church. And there had been apparently an effort by the Trump administration to make some kinds of charges stick. Lilia, if you can still hear me, can you help us understand that legal effort post-demonstration that ultimately failed to make charges stick to Lemon? Because something has happened between that, obviously, and now.
Yeah, we are continuing to report on exactly how things got to that point of him being arrested, involving the HSI and the FBI overnight in Los Angeles. But look, the officials that I have talked to here in Minnesota have been the state officials, extremely critical of the handling of not just the ICE operation, not just the killing of Alex, Pretti, and Renee Good, but the agents' participations or the agents' activities against people just trying to document what they're doing, and that includes journalists. We have seen agents who have, pushed journalists or forced them out of the scene, saying that they are impeding with law enforcement activity. There's a great deal of concern here in Minnesota and, of course, across the country, too, with those actions. So yesterday I sat with the prosecutor for the state of Minnesota who is overseeing the investigation into Alex Pretti's killing and Renee Good's killing. And she was very strong with her words about how the federal government is acting. She says that her investigators, the state investigators, are being excluded from the evidence and the investigation, the federal investigation into those killings. She's very concerned, calls it all unprecedented, concerned with the way that that the government is kind of conflicting with the state. And this is all, I mean, right now, what we've been covering here, this is all happening as Tom Homan showed up yesterday in Minneapolis and basically changed the tone and said that there would be a scaling back of the amount of agents that are here on the ground if the state cooperates. When you see such a high-profile journalist as Don Lemon, somebody who is an anchor for years at CNN, somebody whose face and name everybody, I mean, many people recognize in this country, being arrested while he was at a church interviewing the pastor that was being, targeted by the protesters, or, who the protesters showed up to protest. I think you have such a big story, you have such a big concern, such a strong message about the First Amendment. That is what we're hearing from Don Lemon's attorney. We don't know what the charges are. We don't know exactly what Don Lemon's activities were inside that church. But in terms of messaging, go ahead.
Just want to interrupt you momentarily because our Nicole Skanger has just shared with us the specific charges that Mr. Lemon now faces. So we want to share with our viewers what that is. His charges include conspiracy against rights. You're seeing that on your screen, and for violating the FACE Act. Let me just explain what these charges include. On the conspiracy against rights, this statute protects against conspiracies to interfere with rights such as voting, housing, or bodily integrity. For the second charge he faces, this is the FACE Act. That's the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances. This is a charge which forbids using force, threats, or physical obstruction to stop individuals from accessing reproductive health clinics or places of worship. That sounds key. It also prohibits damaging or destroying property at these locations.
So again, the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances, the FACE Act of 1994. Just reading this off screen here, and we've talked about this before, but just repeating it again, is a U.S. federal law prohibiting the use of force, threat of force, or physical obstruction to injure, intimidate, or interfere with anyone obtaining or providing reproductive health services, including schmishmortions. Passed to curb violence at clinics. It is also protects places of religious worship. So they're saying that he violated the FACE Act. And of course, conspiracy to deprive rights. What say you guys? What say you guys? Is this justified or no? Justified or no? Let's continue on. So now we find out what his charges truly are. FACE Act and the conspiracy to deprive rights.
Now that we know two of the charges that Don Lemon faces, it does appear to be connected to that demonstration in a church from about 6 days ago, which a magistrate judge refused to bring charges at that time. And we know the administration has been pushing since then to appeal and find a way to make something stick. I believe you covered this when it took place a week ago. Lilia, you've been covering so much, I'm not sure, but remind us why the FACE Act itself.
I wasn't here.
Okay, but remind us why the FACE Act would be key.
I wasn't here, but the source who gave me the tip this morning, how we learned for the first time that Don Lemon had been arrested, suggested, he didn't have the warrant, but suggested that it would be connected to the FACE Act, and this seems to be what the government was looking for. It's an interesting charge. Again, we need to, we don't have the evidence. We don't know exactly what happened. But Don Lemon and his attorney and his representatives have said he was there just interviewing the pastor, doing his job as a journalist. For all of us, it's very concerning to think about when we are there covering a protest, which we do constantly. We do all kinds of protests. The actions of the protesters and whatever charges are brought against the protesters, whether or not they are legal, justified, protected by the First Amendment, you don't have that expectation that you are going to be also arrested and charged for being there. We have been tackled, tear gassed in this country and other countries. But when it comes to pressing charges, this is a very serious thing that the government is saying to all of us. To all of us covering protests, to all of us engaging in journalism and bringing the audience what is happening from the ground, especially when it comes to somebody who is, not as well. He is working as an independent journalist, somebody who people know as a journalist, who has such a name and a face and is so widely recognized. You really have to consider what is the message that the government is sending, even after multiple courts had refused to file those charges.
Just so you know, this is Georgia Fort. This is her logo right here. So this is content from her camera at this situation that Don Lemon was at as well. All right. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. So let's continue on.
It's very important for us to understand, and this is something that we've seen the administration do when it comes to immigrants too, that when one state is not friendly to the intention of the government, then they move immigrants to another state. So I'm very curious to know, this grand jury was called yesterday, what kind of evidence they saw. Look, we don't have the evidence, we don't have the facts, we don't know exactly what happened, whether he was obstructing, what he was doing there. But I think the intention, or I think we have to pay very close attention to why this much insistence in bringing charges against Don Lemon, and what is the intention, or what is the message that is sending to all of us who do this for a living, and to the public at large.
And Lilia, I'll just share with you that the consequences of these two charges on the conspiracy against rights, you could have fines and or up to 10 years in prison, and the freedom of access to clinic entrances, or the FACE Act, a violation of that is a misdemeanor on your first offense with up to 6 months in prison for nonviolent obstruction. Subsequent offenses, though, can be categorized as a felony, with penalties increasing up to 18 months for nonviolent offenses, up to 3 years for violent offenses. So serious potential consequences for a former CNN news anchor and independent journalist who was, as you have been doing, covering the incredible events there from the past few weeks. We'll let you go for now, Lilia. We appreciate your report.
This is absolutely crazy. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to, a lot of people are going to take this and run with it. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very hype about this situation. But I'm telling you right now, this is only going to embolden his base. This is only going to embolden his message, his voice, and it's only going to get people more, wanting to speak out more. And it's going to make him want to speak out even more. This is not going to stop him. You realize that, right? There's no way that they're going to be able to muzzle this man. It'll just get more and more people going over to him and checking out what he has to say and what he's up to and what he's doing next. That's literally what it is. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that we see with on the right. Excuse me. It's the same thing that we see on the right. Somebody gets chastised for saying something that might be a little controversial or something of that sort, and then they're hoisted on the shoulders of the conservatives on the right. You know, they become superstars, you know, and they get more support than ever before. I think this is only going to make him speak out more. It's only going to make more and more people go and check out his YouTube channel and see what he's got going on, you know? So again, yeah. Here's the other thing too. That's the thing. If there's any conversation about him threatening anybody inside that church, that is wrong. That is completely false. He did not. The only crime that I saw him do was trespassing. That's the only thing I can say, like literally on that. He walked into a place in which he was not supposed to walk in that place to do what he did, to cover what he did. Trespassing. But the FACE Act, the what was the other one? What was it? I'm trying to find the thing again. The conspiracy to deprive rights. Here's the thing. The conspiracy side, possible. You want to know why? Ooh, I know this is going to anger some people, but I gotta keep it a being with y'all. Okay, we got to keep it real. All right, there is a good possibility for the conspiracy side. You want to know why? Okay, hear me out. Hold on. Before you get mad, okay? I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to think about, think on both sides of the fence here. Like I said, I don't think it was like the Triple K act, which is clearly not what he's getting charged. I don't think he was stopping people from being able to, praise, to worship. He was in the space. Yes. Trespassing. Yes. I don't agree with the FACE Act, but conspiracy though? Yeah, he might have. Yeah, he might have. You want to know why? He conspired with other people. He knew exactly what they were doing. There was conspiracy. Technically, that's true. Sorry, but that is true. We saw it in the video. In fact, we might play it again. Not the whole freaking thing. Just before everything went off, right? He knew what was going on. That's why he was at that place. He was with those protesters. He knew that they were going somewhere. He knew enough not to be able to tell the audience what they were conspiring, but he did know there was conspiracy. I'm sorry, but that part I see. I hate to be the bearer of bad news on that one, but all the other other acts that they're saying that he did, I don't see it, baby. I don't. Trespassing, yes. Conspiracy, I can see that. But the FACE Act, nah. He didn't go up there and go, stop praying. Stop it. You didn't do that. That would be insane. And it would all have been caught on film. It would have been caught on film. But that's not what happened here. Now, is it? I'm just saying, technically, I see that. He did know what was going on. Don't worry, we are going to look at that. Trust and believe. We're going to take a trip down memory lane, because I know some people aren't happy with that idea. Like, how dare you say that about our man, Don Lemon? He did no wrong, such and such. Well, maybe he did do some wrong, but it's all small. It's small stuff. In my personal opinion, small stuff. Okay. Bruce Springsteen. Well, we need a Bruce Springsteen singer out here singing a new version of Born in the USA. Where's that? Where's that? We need that. Isn't there a kid, really short, scrawny guy, plays the guitar. He's on TikTok a lot. Songs about ice and stuff. Like he's like a newer version of like a Bob Dylan type guy. I forgot his name. But you know what I'm talking about, right? He has a song called Join Ice or something. Whatever. He does. Apparently, and he's out there, but we haven't really Bruce Springsteen has a new song about about Minneapolis? Really? That's news to me. That's news to me. Okay. That's news. Yes, Jesse Wells. Thank you, Jesse Wells. That guy. I mean, Jesse Wells. You know what I mean? He's kind of like a Bob Dylan-ish kind of guy. You know what I mean? Talking about all the things that are going on, and you know. But that's another conversation in itself. So let's get into this. We got to take a look at this. This is from Georgia Fort. Georgia Fort just put this out, I guess, moments before she got arrested, which is insane. So let's take a look at this, shall we? There's two different videos. So we're going to take a look at this one, and then we got the second one too.
Do you want to wear my black boots?
You guys, I wanted to alert the public that agents are at my door right now. They're saying that they were able to go before a grand jury sometime, I guess, in the last 24 hours, and that they have a warrant for my arrest. I've talked to my attorney, and I'm being advised to go with them, I guess, down to Whipple. And my children are here. They're impacted by this. This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed a protest as a member of the media. We are supposed to have our constitutional right of the freedom to film, to be a member of the press. I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press. Because now federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protest a few weeks ago. Again, I don't have a long time here, you guys, but I wanted you to know, for me, agents are at my door right now. My attorney has spoken with them. I did send a relative outside to talk to them. They're showing some type of documentation, apparently, that they got an indictment from a grand jury. I knew that I was on a defendant's list. I did not publish it because it was under seal. And so we've done everything that we can to try and abide by, the advice of our attorneys. But right now, you guys, I wanted you to know I'm going to have to hop off here and surrender to agents as a member of the press. I filmed the church protest a few weeks ago, and now I'm being arrested for that. It's hard to understand how we have a constitution, constitutional rights, when you can just be arrested for being a member of the press. We've seen all these violations. All right, you guys, I gotta go. They're knocking.
Yep, she's coming right now.
Give me 1 second.
This is absolutely I gotta hit the dun dun dun. This is absolutely insane. There's a part two, or there's another video. I don't know what's chronologically. I don't know if I'm showing you it in chronological order. So I apologize if it's not in chronological order. But this is some scary stuff. Hold on. Let me get this other one up here. This is some scary stuff. I mean, imagine, waking up really early in the morning to just these dudes like all up in your, peeking into your home. This is some scary stuff. Take a look at this. Take a look. This one's shorter, but.
Yes.
Look at that, guys.
Okay.
You got a DEA police badge on his chest. Wow.
Okay. Well, this is really scary. There's kids in the house. You guys have not been really friendly in the community. And to me, this seems a little, can I finish, sir? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Get your phone.
This seems a little bit aggressive to have all these cars in our cul-de-sac, 2 or 3 agents, and now I saw the one disappear to the back. So to me, this is a little aggressive to just serve a warrant. Slide the warrant. Let me see the warrant. Okay. And that, to me, what I have been told, is not a judicial warrant that has me to have to open the door for you.
That's some scary, scary stuff, y'all. Okay. Um, here's the thing. And I'm curious because some people are sitting here saying, like, in prison Lemon. I just saw a comment. One said, free Georgia, in prison Don Lemon. Now, here's the thing. They both did the same thing. The only difference is that Georgia was behind the camera. She was holding the camera and just filming things, right? Don was in front of the camera asking people questions. But Georgia was in there. She was there. She was right there too. She was doing her journalistic duties. So if you say free Georgia, you got to say free Don Lemon too. It can't be just because you may not like Don Lemon that you're just automatically saying imprison him because I don't like him, but let her free. No, I don't agree with that. It's either both or none, in my personal opinion, because they're both doing the same doggone job. They're both filming. One thing is for sure, one difference, and not throwing any digs at Georgia. I think she's a fantastic journalist. I think she does an amazing job. I've been watching her stuff for a long time. Very good at what she does. Especially her coverage with like the whole George Floyd situation and all that. But regardless, here's the thing. Don was, like I said, no dig to Georgia. She was in it. She was in the crowd, filming in the crowd. Don was out on the sides. He walked over and interviewed the pastor, basically saying, hey, I'm just a journalist. I just wanted to ask your thoughts about what's going on over here. What are your thoughts? Right. And then the pastor said, can you please, I have to ask you guys to please leave. Right. And then they left. Right. Or he started to leave. But as he was leaving, he was like, he ran into a few people and, they wanted to say, one of them, he actually asked them a question, but one of them before that was like, he was basically trying to say something. Right. So he turned to him. He's like, what do you got to say? What do you want to say? Right. What do you got to say? Right. But I don't think there was any like wrongdoing on both their parts. I don't. I think that they were doing their job. Now, here's the thing. Let me just repeat this. If there was conspiracy, if there was conspiring beforehand, then yes, they could get charged for that. I feel like that is a logical charge. Like I said, I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm calling balls and strikes, balls and stripes, balls and strikes. Okay. And what I see here is if there was a congregation of people conspiring to go into the place, like there was a whole plan to go over there, and these journalists knew that was going on and they were a part of that conversation, then technically, yeah, that is conspiracy. That's them conspiring. And I could see trespassing, but the FACE Act, nah, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think at the end of the day, what will happen, what I hope will happen is that this will be a slap on the wrist, or they'll fight this tooth and nail and they'll walk out. They'll walk out free. You know what I'm saying? Just a thought. But that's just my opinion. Okay. That's just my opinion. Hold on. I'm looking at some of these comments. Yeah, like I said, I just don't see it fully sticking. I think that they can get hit with a few small minor things, but I don't see them getting hit like massive. But that's just my thoughts. Now, actually, I do want to play this too. TMZ had some things to say about this, so I want to play that too. Harvey said some things about this, so I want to play that, and then I want to go back and look at the moments before before the protesters went inside the church, right? So hold on, take a look.
So the Trump administration wonders why people are saying that they are trying to form a dictatorship. Well, look at the landscape. Arresting Don Lemon, who covered a protest in Minneapolis, is just insane, ridiculous, dictator-like. This is the playbook that dictators use to destroy democracies and take the will of the people away. It is as simple as that. The First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It is considered the preferred amendment when you have to start balancing what's more important. The framers of the Constitution knew that a free press was essential to a democracy.
I agree. And Christina, you ain't wrong. He's speaking on this because all journalists should be concerned. Yes, all of us should be concerned about this, guys. Everybody who is a self-proclaimed independent journalist, or, from the independent journalists that are actually journalists, right? But they just, don't work for a news station anymore, all the way to the people that just proclaim that they are journalists. All of them should be concerned about this situation, because if you are on the side of, say, not a fan of Trump, not a fan of MAGA, and you've made it very abundantly clear that you are not a fan, there could be trouble. It should be very concerning, absolutely concerning, unless you are literally licking the boot of MAGA and saying, MAGA could do no wrong, and you are just diehard MAGA till you die. You're in the clear. Remember, we see this all the time. We see how Trump appreciates people who praise him. He takes care of those people. He protects those people. That's the America that he wants. He, from time to time, says, yeah, I care about all Americans. I care about them all. But in actuality, he really does only care about one specific type of America, okay? And that America is the people who are praising every single thing that he does, that he can do no wrong, okay? And don't need to be worried about me. I'm fine. I'm not going into protests like this. You see what I'm saying? Not doing that, just not, but at the same time, there are a lot of other people that are out there covering a lot of things, or that are a lot more insanely angry and very more vocal, right? Much more vocal than I am about certain things. I'm fine. I ain't breaking any laws by standing here and doing this stuff, unless he suddenly says First Amendment rights mean nothing anymore. Then I'll be concerned, but I'm going to keep talking. And like I've said a million times before, when Trump does something that I think is great, or that I agree with, I'll say it out loud here on the show. I don't care, because I'm not affiliated or stuck or have allegiance to either side. If he does something amazing, I'm like, yeah, I'm with that. When he does something messed up, I call it out. Like I said, I call balls and strikes. I'm not one that just goes on the show and goes, hey, today is a day that we just gonna bash Trump today for 7 hours. Nah, I got better things to do. But when he does stuff that causes a lot of problems and issues, we gonna talk about it. So, but there are other people that are just hardcore left and say what they say, and that is what it is, you know? I'm trespassing in my own home. Yeah, they're gonna be like, see, he's trespassing in his own domicile. That's what he's doing. Arrest him. Nah. So, again, very, very interesting. Let's hear. But like I said, this is a concern for all journalists, all of them. It doesn't matter at this point. You say anything, that could potentially go against the grain of what Trump is doing out here. What, he's just gonna go, especially if you get under his radar? What, you just suddenly going to be thrown in jail for speaking your mind? It's a concern. It definitely is. But let's hear the rest of this.
Without a free press, you don't have a democracy. And it's real clear that Donald Trump and company doesn't want a free press. The idea that a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years.
Also, I want to make this abundantly clear. It's clear that he doesn't want a free press. Look at what he's doing. He has sued news stations. Okay, he has threatened to sue other news stations as well. He's got news stations in his back pocket now. All because he's like, I don't want. He says it's fake news. All these people are fake news. Yeah. There are fake news out there. There is most definitely fake news out here, for sure. But it's on both sides of the spectrum. It's both sides of the political aisle. You got MAGA news networks that are just straight up lying to the American people about things that are not true because they want to paint Trump in a good light, right? But then you also got people on the left, news stations on the left that will not tell the full truth about certain things because they're trying to paint Trump in a very bad light. They're on both sides of the spectrum. But notice that we're seeing more and more stations starting to bend to Trump. They're not even allowing certain news outlets into press conferences, right? Or they're calling them out right then and there when asked a question by that specific news station that they don't appreciate or don't like. We see it all the time. Okay, this is a tale as old as time. They definitely want to create as much as they can the narrative, and we see it in real time all the time. But let's continue. Let's hear the rest. We see it. CBS is now Trump. Fox News, Trump, right? Newsmax, all these other channels, all these other news stations. They exist, and they're all there to just praise, not do their journalistic duty, which is trying to find the truth and reporting the truth. Just saying.
Would walk into a church and film a demonstration which is of national interest, and then to say somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do. I covered riots. I was a local reporter in Los Angeles for 15 years, and I covered riots and floods and earthquakes and all sorts of things where I had to step into areas where there were police, where there was activity, private property. When you're covering an event like this, like a protest, which I've covered many, you step into it. And that's what journalists do. And that's what Don Lemon did. The idea that the Justice Department is saying he walked onto private property, that is insane. A church invites everybody in. Have you ever seen a church with a no trespassing sign saying no journalists allowed? Have you ever seen any house of worship that says that? It is insane that they're making this stupid argument transparent. And yet a grand jury indicted Don Lemon after a magistrate said there's insufficient evidence. Well, a grand jury will indict anybody because Don Lemon doesn't appear before the grand jury. Abby Lowell, his lawyer, doesn't appear before the grand jury. The Justice Department says what the Justice Department wants the grand jury to believe, and almost every time they believe it. It's all the way it's skewed. This is a ridiculous assault. And I don't want to say just on the First Amendment. It's a ridiculous assault on democracy. Trump administration should be ashamed of itself but they're not. And they will continue to do this. And they are going after journalists. They're getting search warrants for their homes. It is obvious what's happening in this country, people. Look at what is happening. You're going to look back in 2 years if somebody doesn't stand up to them, and I know people are now, but you're going to look back in 2 years and say, wow, we didn't see that coming. Well, Neville Chamberlain should have saw it coming, and he didn't. And we don't want to be in that position. So wise up, everybody, because it's obvious what's happening here. This is an outrage.
I think he has. There's a lot of times I don't agree with Harvey Levin, but in this particular moment right here, I agree with him. I think this is a massive problem, and this can only be something that turns into something much worse. Just saying, this could get much worse if it doesn't get reined in and handled properly. This should be a massive concern for all of us. It should. For all of us content creators that are out here that are covering, political news and all that is a huge concern. This could bleed into something much more aggressive, much more elaborate, much more spread out. And that's something I don't want to see happen at all. We should all be able to have freedom of press. We should all have freedom of speech. We should all be able to say what we need to say, right? And cover what we want to cover. Ask the questions, ask the hard questions, right? And get those questions as best as we can, get the truth out of those questions that we're asking, right? That's just what I think. I think this is a very dangerous situation. Of course, only time will tell with what's going on. But I do want to look at the beginning because, again, like I said, I do think that there is conspiracy. I do think that. I really, really do think that there is conspiracy, at least when he said in the very beginning. And, like I said, we'll see if the video is still up. That video could be taken down because, he doesn't want, he doesn't want that stuff, coming back to bite him in the butt. But let's see. Nope. Wait. Hold on. Nope. It's still there. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Hold on. Yeah, because this is very beginning of this stuff. Yeah, we're gonna look at this here in a second. Because like I said, this is interesting. But like I said, this could very well be something. Let me shave off some of these super chats here really quick. This does not mean that the show's over. Okay. I'm just gonna shave a couple of them off because there's a bunch. Okay. Bunch of members chats and all that stuff as well. So Immortal Badass, thank you so much for the love. The others from church was arrested too. Yes, we just reported that, but thank you so much, Immortal. I appreciate it. Beautiful messy ball. Did I see the Nate the lawyer's video? I have not seen it yet. I'm gonna have to take a look at it when I get a second for sure. But I have not seen Nate the lawyer's video. And Nate the lawyer does really great content, So I'm very interested to hear what he has to say about this situation as well. And I'm sure it's going to lean on the side of Don Lemon should be getting arrested. But I don't know. I haven't seen the video yet. So we'll see. Borellis, thank you so much for the love. Georgia Fort has been arrested too in Minneapolis. Yes, we just saw that video. Thank you so much for that. Allie freed Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. Yeah, I think this is pretty wild. And we're going to look at her content too here in a second as well. Because like I said, this is just absolutely crazy. Tamara, thank you so much for the love. I support free speech 100%, but going in that church was wrong. See, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say the same thing. But then I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say the opposite, right? So let's do this one. Red-headed lefty, thank you so much for the love. Trump has managed to get his cult to cheer and applaud the discretion of the First, Second, Fourth Amendments like he is a hero and rail against anyone standing up for those rights. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very weird, right? one of the things that the right does really lean on is, well, most definitely their two-way, my gun, my rights. Then also freedom of speech. I remember his first term, it was a completely different reaction. It was, hey, cancel culture, it shouldn't exist, blah, 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 right? Now we're looking at situations where people are just saying things. Maybe they're yelling things at ICE, but they're getting arrested like that, right? They're getting detained and then thrown into these detention centers as well for just saying their speaking words. They're not putting their hands on ICE or anything of that sort. We've seen footage of that, countless videos of that kind of stuff happening all the time. All right. And again, pretty wild stuff that we're seeing. Fourth Amendment rights. Yep. We're seeing all that right now as we speak as well. I mean, depending on what happens with Tom Homan, what he's going to do now, we don't know. Maybe that part will be pulled back, but only time will tell with that. He's like, we're going to be more precise and all that. Like, they ain't done. ICE ain't done in Minneapolis. But I am kind of curious about what's going to happen with Tom Homan in the front, leading this situation, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Let's see. Let me get this one too. Holly, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Pascal, if that were your children at on church Sunday, yes, conspiracy is there. Wouldn't you be angry? That is the Klan act. He's cooked. He doesn't have his judges, or he doesn't have his judges. All in my opinion, and I sure do have one. Not in church, Holly. So here is the thing. Yeah, I mean, if I was in church and this happened, yeah, I'd be angry. Who wouldn't be angry about something like that? But I would just leave. I would just leave, pack up our things and go. I'd be like, okay, it's time to go. I don't know what the hell's going on. What the heck is this? What is going on? And I don't know what's going on. So I'd be very concerned, and I would have kicked rocks. I'm going to be real. I would have kicked rocks fast because I don't know what's going to transpire in a situation like that. I don't know what's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Somebody just said, why should you leave? Because I don't know what's going on in that situation. What if somebody had some, like, a device? You know what I'm saying? I'm out. When things like that happen, that happen impromptu like that, I'm packing up I got my family. Okay, man, I'm out. I'm not wasting time. I'm out. Deuces, I'm gone. Okay. Come on now. I'm out, because you don't know what's going on. You don't know how unhinged these people are. You don't know if someone's packing. You feel me? You don't know if they got anything. They want to do something bad in this particular church with all the craziness that happens on a damn near daily basis. Mass tragedies happening every day. And let me just say this too. And I'm me, and I'm me who covers this kind of stuff almost every single day. Man, I'm gone, baby. Okay. Real talk. I'm gone. If there was a couple right next to us, right? And we're sitting there praising the Lord, like, praise the Lord. Yeah. And then they come in and they're doing what they're doing. That couple goes, Pascal, I can't believe. Where did they go? That's how fast I'm gone. Do you understand? Be like, we're out of here, babies. Let's go. Pack up. Put on your coat. Let's go. Let's go. Right now. I'm sorry. I just don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't care if I saw Don Lemon in the room. I don't care. I don't care. I'm gone. Sorry. I don't know, because I don't know what kind of trouble could be happening inside that church or what trouble could be on its way to the church. Do you understand? And I have to protect my family first and foremost. So bye. Deuces. You know what I mean? I'm gone. I'm gone. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I got spidey senses like a mug. I'm gone. Okay. That's just me though. Because I'm just like, I don't have time. I got my family. I got my loved ones that I need to take care of. I don't have time to sit here and try to understand what the heck's going on. Something like that happens, I'm gone. I'm gone. So, yeah, family first, all the time, period. Zero, I don't give it zero damns. You can call me, you can say I'm a coward. You can say I'm yellow bellied, spotted yellow belly, something, something. Nah, go ahead. I don't care. I'm protecting mines first at all times. Okay? So when something like that does happen, or if something like that was to happen, I'm gone. I'm getting as far away from the problem or as far away from that tension as I possibly can, because I go into survival mode. Because I have my family and my loved ones to take care of. But outside of that, if I was there and I knew what was going on, I already told you guys, I would have just Googled that stuff and been like, am I allowed to go in here? Am I allowed to do that? You know what I'm saying? And I would have been outside. Go ahead. You know what I mean? That's it. So that part, right. Yeah, I'd be upset. Yeah, I'd be upset. Absolutely, Holly. But I also would not even waste my time sitting there going, why? No, I'm packing my stuff and I'm out. Bye. Because I don't know what's next. I don't know what's coming next. And if they're coming all up in there, they're getting all up into people's faces and stuff like that, man, I'm gone, baby. Sorry, I'm gone. I'm gone. Okay? No. Because somebody, the potential of somebody doing something wild is through the roof, right? Because it would be somebody on, some church goer, angry, pulling out, you know what I'm saying? Or the other side, them pulling out of people. Nah, I'm gone. Bye. But I don't think, okay, so just to finish the rest of your statement here, Holly, I don't think Don is cooked. I don't. We'll see, though. I don't think he's cooked. I really don't. He'll fight this in court. Then we'll see what happens. But I don't think he's entirely cooked. Is he in trouble? Hell yeah, he's in trouble. Come on, he's locked up. He's in jail right now. Okay? But is he cooked? Don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. You may be right on that, Holly. You may be right on that 110%. Let me get one more here real quick. Timbo, thank you so much for the love. Calling it as you see it. Love it. Much love, Pascal. Thank you so much, Timbo. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we got to have these hard conversations. We got to have these hard, we got to have these hard conversations. You know what I mean? We do. We got to have these hard conversations. And sometimes not everything is so black and white, guys. You see what I'm saying? Just because, I don't think he should have been arrested doesn't mean I can't look at the information and go, well, if he did conspire, then he conspired. You see what I'm saying? Then it's like, all right, I could see that. I could see that. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? But that's just the thing, right? Wait, hold on. What's this? Beautiful, messy. So they blocked the stairs so parents couldn't get to their kids from CCD. What's CCD? Like child care department or something like that? I don't know what CCD is, but you wouldn't leave your kids once they prove conspiracy. You're guilty of all the crimes of your co-conspirators. Well, if they were blocking them from being able to do something like that, then damn right, they're going to get charged. But Don Lemon wasn't the one who was blocking people from doing that, nor was Georgia Fort blocking people from doing stuff, from blocking people from getting their children. If that is true, Sunday school, it's a Sunday school. Thank you, Allie. If that's the truth, that's insane that they would do that, and they're getting charged, and rightfully so. Sorry. I've already said that a million times. They broke laws. That is for sure. The agitators, the protesters that were inside that church most definitely broke freaking laws. We already know that. Okay? We already know that. They broke laws. Now, if it's true that they blocked the stairs so parents couldn't go and get their kids from Sunday school, that's insane. That's insane. And they're going to get in trouble for that too. You know, that's the first time I've ever heard that, to be completely real. Okay, hold on. Let me get this other one. Island Beauty, thank you so much for the love. Lemon not only reported the news, he also made content over time favoring those that stormed the church, etc. Can he still argue that he's just a reporter? Well, here's the thing. He technically, if we were going on technical things, technically he was there. He was not a protester. He said it over and over again. He was there to report the news. But then later on, if he's back at home and he's reporting what had happened that time, and he's just sitting there going like, I'm proud of them for doing what they did, that's still not him saying that he's a protester. You see what I'm saying? That's still not him saying, oh yeah, me and those, I was alongside those protesters. I agree. Me, a protester too, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he really said any of that. Right. And he most definitely didn't say that while he was inside and during this whole protest inside that church. So just because he gave commentary later on and saying that he was proud of them for going in there, that's not a crime. That's not a crime. That's him using his First Amendment right once again, speaking. Be different if he went in and he was like, I'm a protester, and he's like, Renee good, ICE out, all those things, then he would be in trouble. Even he'd be a protester, but he wasn't. You see what I'm saying? So again, later, just the fact that he just said what he said, did commentary later, that's still not an admission or, grounds to charge anyone for just speaking their opinion. But I see what you're saying. No. But let's get into this. Okay. This is like the very beginning of it. Okay. They're all congregating. They're all getting together. It's all the very beginning of this live stream before they went into this church. Let's take a listen.
Justice for Renee Good.
All right. I'm really gonna just ground us in the solid chant right now, because
Thank you.
I feel like that's been missing from the front line, and I just want us to remind everybody why we're really out here fighting, right? Yeah. We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our shame.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Guys, it sounded like Sunday morning. I know it's Sunday morning. And I know we've been on this front line. And I know we're exhausted, y'all. But this also helps our healing process, because it actually triggers our vagus nerve. And all of us are sitting on edge right now. So trigger your vagus nerve, relax your body, and really just let it out so the universe really understands why all these thousands and thousands and thousands of people are out here in the streets of Minnesota right now. Ready? We have a duty to fight for our freedom!
We have a duty to fight for our freedom!
We have a duty to win!
We have a duty to win!
We must love and support one another!
We must love and support one another!
We have nothing to lose but our chains!
We have nothing to lose but our chains!
Nothing to lose but our chains!
We have nothing to lose but our chains!
Nothing to lose but our chains!
We have nothing to lose but our chains!
Now remember to stay bumper to bumper. Don't make sure everybody gets through the light, and we all have the address, right?
Hold on, guys. That quick pan, I think
Now
that's Georgia
remember to
Fort
stay
right
bumper
here.
to bumper. Don't.
No, that's not. I thought the red jacket was Georgia Fort for a second, but that's not. It was just such a quick pan, right?
Make sure everybody
I'm going to skip ahead, though. But hold on.
gets through the light, and we all have the address, right?
Yeah.
You hearing that, right? You heard that, right? Hold on.
Everybody gets through the light, and we all have the address, right?
What's the address? They all are talking about where they're going. They know. So, like, okay, I'm just saying, Don knew exactly what was going on. They're right now in a group saying, yep, we're going to this place. So you tell me, guys, is this not conspiring? You mean to tell me that they were just going to show up to the address and just stand outside the church? I'm just saying. They weren't going to do that. So they're talking about it. They know what's going on. They know what they're going to do. That's what they're going to go and do. Now, does Don Lemon know everything? Maybe not. But let's listen. Let's take a listen. And I'm going to skip ahead, but this part is kind of important.
Yes. Everybody has the address. Remember, if you have anything that is activist identifying, do not wear it in if you're going in to just sit down and be a part of the situation. Yeah, don't all sit together. But when y'all, if I wanted to say that, I would. When we pull up, you'll know exactly what it is.
So again, look, they are talking about it. Hold on. Let me look. Hold on. Let me keep listening.
If you are a white ally, again, and you have anything activism identifying, do not go in with the first wave. You wait until you come in with us as people of color. Okay?
So they're getting the operation together. Again, this is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out. Can't tell you what is going to happen, but you're going to watch it live unfold here on the Don Lemon Show. There are for this reason it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here.
Now, here's the thing. I think they're looking at a technicality. Because I know some people are like, Ellie just said, he's just reporting it. He's just reporting on it. Yeah, he's still reporting on it, but he knows what's going on. He knows what's popping off. That's why, again, it's kind of like, here comes the surprise, and they don't want to tell. That's why he kind of was like, oh, okay, let me back up, because they don't want the listeners, like the people who are watching the show, know what they're about to do. You see what I'm saying? So hold on. Let me just read this off screen. Okay. I just typed in, what is conspiring to deprive rights mean? Okay. Or what does conspiring to deprive rights mean? Conspiring to deprive rights is a federal crime where two or more persons agree to injure, threaten, or intimidate anyone in the free exercise of constitutional or statutory rights. This statute, often used against conspiracies to hinder voting or civil rights, applies to actions taken to prevent the enjoyment of these rights, with penalties ranging from 10 years to life in prison or the DP. Damn! So, again, definition, it involves an agreement between two or more people to interfere with rights secured by the U.S. Constitution or federal laws. Now, here's the thing. After reading that, yeah, he's looking at some serious stuff. That's serious. Like 10 years to life, depending on how severe. I mean, like I said, what he did wasn't severe. Okay, he wasn't running around, with a pew and threatening people, threatening people's lives for being in the church or anything. But here's the thing. There is conspiracy, but is it conspiracy to deprive rights? Again, he knew about the situation. So where two or more people agree to basically intimidate, okay, the free exercise of constitutional or statutory rights. So the right to assembly, the right to, the right to a religion, to praise, to worship, etc. Right? He went in there. But here's the thing, though. My thing, though, is that he did not go and infiltrate. He's not the one who infiltrated. He was reporting. I could see conspiracy, but conspiracy to deprive people of them, you know what I mean? Them praising or, worshiping in the church. He wasn't the one who did that. You see what I'm saying? So I could see a lawyer on his side, his lawyer basically saying, sure, he trespassed, but did he really conspire to deprive rights? Deprive these particular people's constitutional rights? It's the same thing I would say about Georgia Fort as well. Is it really is that really a conspiracy to deprive rights when she was just there documenting as well? She may have known, yes, there was conspiracy. Yes, there was conspiring for sure, because they knew what was going on. That's why these reporters, including Don Lemon, is there to document the situation. But he's there to document. So is it fully depriving somebody of their constitutional rights? Fully on Don Lemon? But see, here's the thing. This is where his lawyer is going to have a field day with this, I would hope. I'm sure he's got a great lawyer, right? That lawyer is going to have a field day to basically prove, like, wait a second, he was there documenting. Where does it show proof that he was conspiring to try to, deprive people of their constitutional right? That will be the argument for sure. He knew, though. He knew what was going on. He is reporting that he congregated with these people in this particular Dollar Tree parking lot, shopping center parking lot. He knew exactly where they were going. He walked in right when they, right around the time that they went up and started the protests. In fact, it seemed as if it almost seems as if they were waiting for Don Lemon to be in the church before they actually went and did what they did and started what they started. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm just stating facts. So now I'm wondering if that is going to stick. You see what I'm saying? But there is conspiracy. But is it to deprive for Don Lemon? I'm saying Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. Is it really to deprive people of their constitutional rights? That's something I'm curious about, right? But let's continue, because like he said, he backed up because he's like, we can't really tell you what's going on. All right. But, we got some people, they doing their thing, blah, blah, blah. So they know what's going on. They got the memo, right? The whole group got the memo. Let's continue.
So that is what I could say. I turned our camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here. But there we go. Everybody's ready to go. Let's go. Okay. Thank you guys thanks for allowing me to be here.
Okay,
thank you guys.
Okay.
How are you?
Good.
To see you. We're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you. Tell us why you're doing this.
So
this is Nakima Levy Armstrong. She's on the show
Nakima
on Friday.
Levy Armstrong, civil rights attorney, longtime activist here in the community. And, we protest and do activism in all kinds of ways. This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there. And then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now. We've had a lot of success with the times we have done Operation Pull Up.
Yeah.
After George Floyd was killed, we went to the Police Federation head's home and staged a demonstration there. We also went to the head of the U.S. Marshals from Minnesota after Winston Smith was killed by the U.S. Marshals. We went there after Daunte Wright was killed when AG Keith Ellison refused to take the case. And we forced the prosecutor who lived in Stillwater to take the case by showing up there 4 times. So this is our next action to call for justice for Renee Good and ICE out of Minnesota.
But you get results.
Yes, we get results.
And with Daunte Wright, you got results.
We got results because the AG's office was forced to take the case, and they successfully prosecuted the cop who killed Daunte Wright. The U.S. Marshal got uprooted from her position from Minnesota. And then this was the start of weakening the leadership of the head of the Police Federation, Bob Kroll, who later we filed a lawsuit against. And he cannot be a law enforcement agency in Hennepin County, Anoka, or Ramsey for 10 years. So we've had success every single time.
How long do you think before this operation before it takes place?
We got to go now and get there.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you there. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're going to go to the operation again. We're not going to give any of the information away. But as Nikema said, this is the clandestine operation, and then we can tell you what's going to happen afterward. But I got to say, I've been really heartened by. Let me pull up. Yeah, you want to switch sides? Let me grab this. All right, so look, we're live here. This is live raw. Mike doesn't have a cup holder back there, unless you do. It's probably in the.
Yeah,
here, I have one. Here, can you help him just grab that stuff? Put it on the other side. Are you good, Mike?
Yeah, just one of my hands is like frozen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got hand one more.
Yeah, it is. What's the temperature here?
Well,
okay, so you get the idea. All right. Again, I really don't think that that Don is. I don't see him being cooked, but anything's possible. Really, anything is possible. In fact, let me play a little bit more. I just don't think he's cooked. I think he's going to be able to fight this in court, maybe dwindle this down to a slap on the wrist, but we'll see what happens, right? Do I think he deserves to be arrested? I honestly don't think so. I really don't. But I think because of the political climate that we're in, because of the bias that the biases, I don't even know what the plural of bias is, but you get what I'm saying. The bias that is out here in this world that we're in right now. I just think that they put their set their sights out for this guy and for Georgia and for everybody else that was involved as well. So we'll see what happens. But let me skip ahead just a little bit. But as you can see, he knew exactly what was going on. It's not like he didn't know what was coming next. Okay. Now I want to show you guys this part because this is important. It seemed as if he had they were waiting for him to come in. Okay. All right. They clearly were waiting for him to come in. And then he came in, and then like a few seconds later, that's when the protest started, right? So, and you know what, EJ, yeah, they might have, I'm sure they have it. I'm sure now they have his phone. So I'm sure they're going to be able to do their due diligence and get all that stuff out here too, right? So again, like I said, it's very interesting. Let me just play a little bit of this because we do have some breaking news stuff as well, which is absolutely crazy. It's about the Epstein files, guys.
Give you mercy that chases us, get out of the house. That we would walk with integrity. integrity, that we would be men and women and boys and girls who are like green olive trees in your house, that we would be steadfast and immovable, always abounding in your work, doing the great commission that you have given us and full of hope. It is to that end, mighty God, that we ask now for leading.
Yo. I'm just reading some things here. Sorry, I'm getting this is all breaking stuff. So I'm trying to consume as much information as I can. This is insane stuff. This is insane stuff. Get ready, guys. Hold on to your butts. It's about to be a very, very bumpy show.
That we would open our hearts to receive. Feed us. Through understanding and affection, that we would know your word, Michael, and cherish your word as our word. Make us bow in love for your glory. Seated. We invite you to the Bible and open John. Some more seats. We do have some seats available in the sides here, the transept, some seats open. Some seats up here as well. The Gospel of John, chapter.
And just so you know, he's inside. Don is inside. If I'm correct, he's inside finally. Of course, and then of course this whole thing, things go down, right? There it is. Like I said, he was only in there for a few minutes, and then boom, then it started. And remember everything. He was stuck in the snow. There was car issues, all that before they even got there. And then they got there. He walked in there, right? And then they started. So again, he knew about these things. That is true. He knew about these things. Now, is that conspiring or is that conspiracy to deprive acts? I leave that question up to you guys. Okay. But this is wild. Why does today feel like a Monday? It feels like it should be a Monday, y'all. It really does feel like it should be a Monday, but it's not. It's not. Hold on. I need to show you guys Georgia Fort. I told you guys I would show you the Georgia Fort situation. Actually, some people are talking about, there's a live talking about this whole situation. Hold on. Hold on.
I've sat with her on many meetings, and I just refuse to allow.
Hold on, I'm pulling this back because they are having a press conference over this situation. And don't worry, we're going to get to the Epstein stuff here in just a minute. And we still have to talk about Trump calling Alex Pretti an insurrectionist now. So he's walked everything back. At first, it was like, oh, whatever happened to both of them, so terrible, blah, blah, blah. And now he is saying that Alex Pretti is an insurrectionist. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But there's a press conference that they just had, which we got to take a look at. Let's take a listen. This is a press conference that's happening right now as we speak.
About her status, we believe that she is still in custody with a court appearance scheduled for later today.
They're referring to Georgia Fort, just so you know.
We're going to take this camera now. It hasn't quite started, but as soon as it does, we're going to go microphone up, and you can listen to it for yourself in its entirety.
Come on, turn up the volume.
Pardon me if this is new to me, because normally I'm on that side of the camera. But today, I and many of my colleagues are called to be on this side of the camera. And it is one of the scariest moments of my life and in my career to know that a fellow journalist, a top journalist, an award-winning journalist, a 3-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, the only journalist who was in the courtroom during the Derek Chauvin trial. So she is a vetted journalist whose credentials are impeccable, is right now sitting in federal custody for doing her duty. She's in custody for doing what you all are doing right at this very moment. I want y'all to hear that. She's in custody for doing what you're doing right now. So if you think for one moment that you are protected, this is the wake-up call to let us know that these don't stop bullets. They don't stop arrest. They don't stop the death threats that we get for doing our job. These don't do a damn thing. And I need all of us to be awake to that fact that Georgia Fort, because I haven't yet said her name yet, that Georgia Fort is in federal custody for doing her job. And if we leave here with anything today, let's leave here making sure that the main thing stays the main thing. Journalism is under attack.
Yeah.
The First Amendment is under attack.
Yeah.
And democracy is crumbling.
Yep.
Yes. If we allow this to happen, if we allow this to happen, if we don't speak up in the loudest voice, all of our so-called freedoms, our illusion of freedom goes away. So I know I didn't introduce myself when I started. My name is Harry Colbert Jr. I am the Vice President for the Center of Broadcast Journalism and Power 104.7. Georgia Fort is our president of the Center of Broadcast Journalism, and she has her own entity, Black Press and Georgia Fort. With that being said, I'm first going to ask a longtime activist, a past president of the NAACP, to speak. We're going to have several members of the media that are going to come and speak to you, and then a couple of members of Georgia's family would like to make brief statements.
Grace and peace, everyone. Again, my name is Leslie E. Redmond, and I cannot tell you how outraged I am to be standing in this same place again. For many of us, we still here in 2020 after the murder of Brother George Floyd. We stayed here too many times to count, and we said then that it was a state of emergency. I want you all to know that the emergency is still ongoing. When you have journalists being arrested for reporting, when you have truth tellers being held captive, we are under a state of emergency. And you're gonna have to ask yourself, what are you doing right now? We talk about what we would have done if we were around when slavery was going on in the Underground Railroad. Well, this is it right now. We are under attack. Georgia's family is here. And I want to tell you all that I was talking to Sister Georgia, and she was afraid of being arrested. And I told her, they're not going to arrest journalists. They tried that with Don Lemon. It didn't work. And now Don Lemon and Georgia Fort are under arrest. We are under attack. We are being targeted, and it's not just individuals. Our democracy is under attack. Our Constitution is under attack. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. And I want for everybody that's watching across the nation to know that you are next. Minnesota is holding the line, and we can't hold it by ourselves. This is not a black people or white people or religion or age or any of these things. We are fighting for human rights. We are fighting for our humanity and our democracy. And nobody fought harder for that than Georgia. She is the ultimate professional. She is so intentional. But we saw after Alex was killed on Saturday, journalists were being tear gassed. King Demetrius, who's going to speak to you, has a boot on right now. They are not paying attention to passes, badges, and they're not paying attention to our democracy and our Constitution. And I want to tell y'all, we have to stand for something or fall for anything. This is a state of emergency, and I'm wondering where our leadership is. Where's Governor Walz? Where is Mayor Fry? Where are all of our representatives? And if you want to run for office, and you're not standing with community, you don't have a shot. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of standing up here. And Georgia is a wife. She is a mother. She's a business owner. She's a journalist. She should not be in jail right now. And everybody should be outraged about that. This does not make any sense. This is real trauma. This is not a joke. Trump, this is not a show. This is not a game. This is people's real life. And I want everybody, the world is watching Minnesota once again. Once again, we're under the microscope because we're not being protected and we can't get it right. And it's not on the community. And nothing's burnt to the ground. Y'all always making excuses. Y'all want to act like this is us against them. No, we're under attack. And the people have not even begun to fight back. We can't even record. We can't even stand. We can't even live. People can't leave their houses. People are losing their jobs. People are afraid. And Georgia had the courage to record it. And now she's arrested. Where is our constitutional rights? We are under attack, and you all better wake up before it's too late to wake up. It's not a joke. It's not a drill. When journalists are getting arrested, you all better be afraid. This is a state of emergency. And not the same one from 2020. This is a different state of emergency. This is like any of us could get taken at any moment. They're coming for all of us. Anybody who has the courage to stand up and speak out. And to my believers, where is the faith community at? You all let Nakima and Chantel and William and all these people put their lives on the line saying the hypocrisy of a pastor also being the head of ICE in St. Paul. If Jesus was here, he would be flipping tables. So why aren't y'all? This is a different day. This is a different state of emergency. And none of us are safe. Journalists, none of y'all are safe. White people, black people, indigenous, Asian, nobody is safe. Georgia Ford, of all people, I would have never thought Georgia Ford would be arrested right now. She has kids, she has a husband, she has a family. This is not a drill or a joke.
We got some shocking.
I'm gonna ask Georgia's daughter to introduce herself and this her husband and just say a couple words.
Hello, my name is Zaraya Hammonds, and I'm sorry if I stutter or if I say anything too fast. This is my first time ever doing anything like this. Georgia Fort is my mom, and we are here to call for her immediate release. My mom has been a documenter and a member of the press for as long as I can remember being alive, for 17 years. My mom is being arrested for documenting what happened at City Church. And this is wrong. This goes against her First Amendment right as a journalist, and it's being challenged today. She is not a protester. She is not an activist. She is a mom working to provide for her children through the only way she knows how. Documenting and sharing stories of the community and truth of what's happening here every day in our state. This moment of history just doesn't affect me. It also affects my little sisters who had to wake up and comprehend at the ages of 7 and 8 why their mom had to be arrested today. My 7 and 8-year-old sister woke up today without a mom. My father woke up today without his wife. I'm demanding that my mom gets released. The separation of families will never be right. Thank you.
God bless you. Oh, I apologize.
I just want to, I'm going to keep it brief and short. I'm Ceriso Fort. I'm the husband of Georgia Fort. I'm going to keep it, like I said, brief and short. I really want to thank you all for coming out. And I want y'all to have courage and continue doing what y'all doing, because I watch Georgia. I support her. You know, behind the scenes, a lot of stuff I'm there watching, I'm supporting her. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't understand what can go down to the point where, you gotta arrest a journalist for doing their job. She's just doing her work. She's not harming nobody, not hurting nobody. I mean, I know some individuals that hurt people that, you know, I don't understand that. You know, when it's that way, I understand, right? When there's someone's not, no one, she's not harming no one. So I really, it hurts, you know what I'm saying? As I'm pulling off to take my 7 to 8 year old, my daughter, we driving, I'm getting stopped. 10 cars come. I didn't want them to see this. They will sleep early. Now they got to see this. Oh man, that wasn't cool, you know? So it's like understanding that what we up against right now is really affecting the human rights and us as people. We got to stand strong. We got to continue to stay prayed up right now in this time and era. Right now, what we're dealing with, we got to stay prayed up. And I want to, like I said, once again, man, thank you all for coming out, and thank you all that's out there that's supportive of what we're doing. Thank you.
God bless you, brother. God bless you.
Okay, the next person that I want to bring is the current president of the National Association of Black Journalists, Minnesota, Cherie Curry.
Also, thank you all for coming out. Cherie Curry, Sheree, Curry, Curry. I am co-president of the National Association of Black Journalists, Minnesota chapter, and Georgia Ford is one of our vice presidents of this chapter. And we demand the immediate release of her and for all charges to be dropped. She, as Harry had said earlier, she is an award-winning journalist. She has covered demonstrations throughout her career, including the protests that erupted after the murder of George Floyd. The First Amendment protects the press and enables journalists to be able to do their jobs, to be able to collect, publish, and disseminate information that is important for all of our readers, our listeners, our viewers to understand what's going on. And Georgia was doing her job. She had boots on the ground. It is very important that people like her, independent journalists especially, be protected. They do not have the same type of backing as an independent journalist as someone would who works for a media outlet. So we are outraged for this and for her family. And I hope all of you will feel the same who hears what happens to her and know that if it is about attacking a journalist, it is attacking all of us as citizens. Thank you.
Elisa? And I apologize because I'm going to mispronounce your last name. All right.
My name is Elisa Kuznetsov, Aleesakuz, N as in Nancy, E, T as in Tom, S-O-V as in Victor. I am the president-elect of the Minnesota Society of Professional Journalists. Our president couldn't be here today. The Minnesota Society of Professional Journalists strongly condemns the wrongful arrests of journalists Georgia Fort and Don Lemon for reporting on a church protest in St. Paul. Georgia Fort, as many have already said, is an Emmy Award-winning journalist who has paved the way for independent journalism here in Minnesota. As a founder of Black Press and the Center for Broadcast Journalism, and a former member of our board, Georgia is a pillar of our Minnesota journalism community. She has a passion for making the profession more accessible and has mentored and trained countless young journalists. We are alarmed by the escalating actions by the Trump administration that attack freedom of the press. Journalists not only have the right, but the responsibility to observe and report events in the public interest. It is not illegal to document a protest against the federal government. The fact that the protest took place in a church does not negate journalists' First Amendment right to report. The effort to punish independent reporting is an effort to weaken democracy. If Georgia and Don's cases proceed, it would seriously undermine both the freedom of the press and the rule of law. We urge the federal government to remember the importance of the First Amendment. The Minnesota Society of Professional Journalists has recorded several acts of violence against journalists from federal law enforcement in the last month. The failure to stop these acts sets a dangerous precedent for censoring the truth. The Minnesota Society of Professional Journalists will continue its commitment to protect press freedom and advocate for any journalists in our state who experience a First Amendment violation. Thank you, and we'll have a full statement posted on our website, mnspj.org, later today.
Thank you. We're going to hear from our current Minneapolis NAACP president.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Wilson, current president of the Minneapolis NAACP. And you've heard already what's been said. we definitely stand in solidarity with our journalist and specifically Georgia Fort, as she has been an integral part of providing the news for the Black community. That being said, I also want to say that what you're seeing now and what we're experiencing is a pivot away from what's happening with our democracy. And if we allow this to happen now, this is not a Republican, this is not a Democratic, this is not a black, white, as you already heard, this is a humanity issue. And what we're experiencing, you all, and you have to recognize it, even for the most people who are not even, brilliant or can't see clearly, this is blatant as it gets. Number 47 is out to be a dictator. And he is looking to take away all of our rights. Everyone who voted him in, he's voting you out. So what I would say, we have another election coming up. We need to prepare to vote, to get our voices heard, and to make sure that we're doing what's necessary to make sure our democracy stays a democracy and not a dictatorship. That being said, we're standing in support of Georgia Fort, and we're asking that she be released immediately. And at that point, I'll turn it back over to the hands. Thank you.
We've been talking about journalists being on the front line, and we see right now what's happening with Georgia, who's in federal custody. I got to say that one more time, because while we're here not in custody, she's over there in custody. But you all, many of you, know exactly what we're talking about because you experienced it. But I have someone here who is wearing a boot on his foot because he was shot by federal agents while doing his job as a journalist. So
I'm sorry, guys. There's so much going on. I don't know what's going on with this Friday. I don't know. Okay, hold on. We're going to continue with this press conference, but holy poop on a stick. There's so much stuff going on. And I keep saying that. I know. I'm getting this research. I'm listening to this, of course, but there's so much going on. Now we got stuff about Bill Gates. Like, I'm going to tell y'all, just let this press conference happen, baby. And I'm going to break all of this down. And it all has to do with Epstein. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Just get ready. I'm sorry. I don't mean to yell. I'm sorry. Inside voices. Woosah. Pressure points. Woosah. We got some crazy stuff going on. Don't worry. I'm going to play a little bit more of this, and then we're going to get straight into this because there's some stuff going on, guys. Yeah. Let me just play a little bit more of this, okay? Let me just play a little bit more, okay? And then we gonna get it. We gonna get into it, okay? Like I said, y'all are sending me stuff. I have stuff. There's just a lot going on here today. What the hell is going? What's up with this Friday? Are we going into a government shutdown too? Like, what in the hell is going? Good God! What about? Wait. What about Galanis? Gilliananis? Gillianius in Bryan, Texas? Holly, what the hell's going on? Is she gone? Did she suddenly disappear? Is she somewhere like in Dubai doing sun salutations with Russell Simmons now? What's going on? Let me know. Okay. Oh dear God, there's so much going on. Let me just play a little bit more of this. Okay. Hear another person, but of course they want her out and they want, they want justice. They don't think that she should be getting charged. Georgia Fort. Okay. Let's continue on.
That being said, I'm going to ask King Demetrius to come speak.
What's up? Why is the camera down there? Does he want to be anonymous? What? What's going on here?
I just want to let you all know how touched and moved I am by Georgia Fort and how she has always spoke power to truth. And like everyone said, she is an award-winning journalist. Let that sit right there. She has family. She has children who had to watch something as tomfoolery of this happening. Coming to her home in the broad daylight and trying to make like she is a criminal, like she did something that was totally off the Richter scale. Obama couldn't have did any of this, just so we clear. He wore a tan suit and America lost their damn mind. Journalists is being attacked on a day-to-day basis. We seeing Trump with his sycophants individuals who are basically discriminating on anybody. When you're seeing people being dragged, especially women, being dragged, being tear gassed, being pepper sprayed.
Holy crap.
When you're seeing a person discharging his firearm and saying, this is a B, right? After he kills a shooter in their face.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to interrupt, but there are now anti-protests going on in various areas right now as we speak as well. Atlanta, Las Vegas. Of course, we got things going on in Minneapolis. Like, I don't know what's going on. Today is, what the hell's going on today? We 30 days into 2026, y'all. I just want to make that abundantly clear in case you didn't catch the memo. We are 30 days, just 30 whole days into this year. We still brand new, okay? We haven't even learned how to walk yet. We haven't even learned how to crawl, okay? We still sleeping and pooping, eating, sleeping, and pooping. That's how young we are in this year. And we already hitting the ground running so freaking hard, okay? Yeah, the first month ain't even over yet, okay? Can it be over? Oh, my God. Let me play a tiny bit more. Let me let him finish what he's got to say, and then we got a lot to cover. Welcome to Friday, y'all.
When you see an individual kicks a tail light, then several days later get gunned down, and there's no outrage, but yet you go back, and the January 6th thing that happened, you didn't have no energy for them, but peaceful protesters who went into a church and called a spade for what a spade was, you put the immediate force on them.
Wow. And
you put the immediate force.
And the journalists who documented the incident.
The journalists who documented the incident that occurred and was doing their job, you immediately went after them. Georgia Ford indicated to 300,000 black women has lost their job. Now it's over 500,000 black women has lost their job since the administration has been in the White House. I want you all to understand something and understand something now. Our children will not forget your name. These ICE agents who are doing this here and all these other individuals who's making preposterous statements, we see you. We see the individuals who's being real quiet. We see you. But trust and believe me, we serve a higher power that looks high, sits high and looks low. Trust me, they will not get away with this. The shooting me in my foot, I'm just grateful that I still have my foot. Some people been shot in their eyes is out, their foot, they having trauma. Just think about what's gonna happen to our children. Our children is watching this. Who's gonna help us with our trauma? I would say the words of what Sonia Massey say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Okay, guys. Unfortunately, we're going to have to hop over to a couple other things because a lot of things are popping off right now. So if you guys could do me a solid, okay, because this would really, really mean the world to me. Can we get to 1K likes? Okay. Can you hit the like button down below? There's a lot of breaking news going on simultaneously at the same time. There are protests, anti-ICE protests happening, brewing right now as we speak. If it's not one thing, it's something completely different. This is going to be a very, 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 very busy day, I have a feeling, with news and updates that are going on. Because let's not forget what's happening in Minneapolis, I know is already going to be angering a lot of people, like the arrest of Don Lemon, the arrest of Georgia Fort, and other people that were involved in that protest. And we're just talking about the journalists, just the journalists. I'm not talking about the protesters. I'm talking about the journalists themselves. There are going to be a lot of people that are very, very upset about what's going on here. And we're going to keep an eye on that, trust and believe. But please, if you can hit that like button down below, let's get it to 1K. That would really mean the world to me. Also, let's do this too. Don't forget to subscribe. All right. I could really use the support. Please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to do that. We talk about a lot of things on this channel. I know there's a lot of times you guys don't agree with what I have to say, but it is what it is, right? This is why we have these conversations. We have the hard conversations. We talk about the hard stuff. We do talk about everything from true crime to pop culture to political on this channel, because I care about what's going on in the world. And I want to share those stories, right? And have those discussions with you. Sometimes, like I said, we have the hard conversations, but that's what makes us better. That's what makes us stronger. That's what makes us smarter, right? And better people out here. So if you guys can hit that like button down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe, because there's more coming. And we got a lot going on. This is, yeah. We got some very wild stuff going on. So we have got to get into this. Okay. Now, first and foremost, I know everybody's still reeling over this, but now we have some more information about, like I said, there are allegedly okay. Let me explain something. Okay. Hold on. Let me explain something. Las Vegas, I think, is going to be insane. Let me explain. Right now, Las Vegas has, and maybe I'll just show this per example. Maybe I'll just show it. So allegedly, two different things are going on right now. Okay. There is a counter protest to support ICE operations. So there's if I'm getting that correct, there's an anti-ICE protest that's going on, that's about to pop off in Vegas. Let me just show you what I mean right here. We got that. Then we got another thing that's going on in Atlanta, where they have an anti-ICE protest that's brewing right now in Atlanta as we speak. Now, there are a lot of things going on, like Boston apparently is about to get hit with ICE as well. There's going to be a heavy presence of these types going on everywhere. And it says it was supposed to start at 12 from Associated Press, and they haven't started anything yet. So maybe the protest really hasn't started or anything of that sort. But I'm going to keep an eye on that for sure. But nonetheless, we got to get into this conversation. There's a couple things that we need to talk about. So let me pull up something for sure, because this just came out of nowhere. Just so you know, out of freaking nowhere. Trump's Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, comes out and basically says that they're releasing millions of pages of Epstein records. And they're saying, from what I'm hearing out here in these streets, they're saying right now that they didn't really do a good job redacting everything. In fact, there's information in here that is absolutely so shocking. And we're going to talk about it. But let's take a listen to this here really quick. All right, let's rock and roll.
Today, we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos.
Hold on.
And 100.
Hold on. Whoa. Hold up. Start that again. How many?
Than 3 million pages.
3 million pages. 3 million pages. Okay. Of documents. Hold on. They're also releasing videos too?
Including more than 2,000 videos.
2,000 videos. So we're about to get a Epstein tidal wave. Or it's already happened, I'm sorry. Because people are already looking at this stuff and they're already reacting, they're already talking about this stuff. And again, this is, I'm sure, not even the tip of the iceberg of the information of the stuff that they have. Hold on. 3 million pages of Epstein files. Thousands, let me just make sure I got that correct. Thousands of videos.
3 million pages. including more than 2,000 videos.
2,000 videos.
And 180,000 images.
180,000 images and a partridge in a pear tree. What in the is going on here? Tidal wave. The people are already combing through this stuff. There's so much crap right now. There's stuff that we going to talk about it. Have mercy. Oh, and then also Trump wants Obama arrested. We're going to talk about that too. There's a lot, like I said, breaking news, guys. This is all breaking news. Okay. Who going to read it? Delene, everybody. People going to spend their time. Like I said, they'll be reading this stuff up until, or they're going to throw all that stuff into ChatGPT and basically say, can you give me a summary of what's being said in these 3 million pages of documents? This is insane, guys. This is absolutely insane. 3 million pages. People are reading it. That's what's crazy. People are reading it. And there's already things being screenshot and thrust onto X showing Trump doing some crazy stuff. Calendar girl parties? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about that in just a second.
In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the act.
Have mercy.
Just a quick note about the videos and images. The 2,000 videos and 180,000 images are not all videos and images taken by Mr. Epstein or someone around him. They include large quantities of commercial pornography and images that were seized from Epstein's devices, but which he did not take or that someone around him did not take.
So you mean to tell me like he got the Pamela Anderson and Tommy, whatever his face, S tape? Is that what you talking about? What, he got some Jenna Jameson, corn, in his collection? All these DVDs, Midnight Hammer Part 2. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on, right? So some of it is like professionally made content, and then the other stuff is his dirty little mind.
Some of the videos, though, and some of the...
Wait. What about Tommy Lee? Oh, Tommy Lee. Sorry. Yes, I thought you meant... I forgot his last name. His last name was Tommy Lee. Okay, thank you. I was thinking Tommy Lee Jones. I'm like, what about Tommy Lee Jones? Come on now. He's in the list too. He's in the conversations. Damn. But Tommy Lee Jones is not a part of the conversation. Tommy Lee, yes. Tommy Lee, the drummer. Yes. That tape, that infamous tape, okay, that started it all. Literally. That's why we have One Night in Paris and Kim Kardashian with Ray J. I hit it first. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who started it all. Left turn. Let's continue now.
Images do appear to be taken by Mr. Epstein or by others around him. Now, I want to talk for a few minutes about the department's document identification and review protocols. It consisted of multiple layers of review and quality control designed to ensure compliance under the act and protect victims. On top of the review protocols that the department had in place, the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York employed an additional review protocol to ensure compliance with a court order requiring United States Attorney Jay Clayton to certify that with respect to certain materials, a large quantity of the materials, a rigorous process was undertaken to protect victims against any clearly unwarranted invasion of their personal privacy. The department's collection effort resulted in more than 6 million pages being identified as potentially responsive, including department and FBI emails, interview summaries, images, videos, and various other materials collected and generated during the various investigations and prosecutions that the act covered. We erred on the side of over-collection of materials from various sources to best ensure maximum transparency and compliance, which necessarily means that the number of responsive pages is significantly smaller than the total number of pages initially collected. That's why I mentioned a moment ago, we're releasing more than 3 million pages today and not the 6 million pages that we collected. I want to address what we didn't produce. The categories of documents withheld include those permitted under the Act to be withheld, files that contain personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files, and similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy.
Hold on real quick. Tank just said this too. And I have some bad news here too. We got some breaking news. Today is an interesting Friday. A deeply beloved comedian, an actress comedian, has just lost her life. Catherine O'Hara has passed away. We're going to be talking about that here just briefly, but that's breaking news right now. That just broke, which is absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating news. Now, Tank just said something. Yeah, I have a feeling something's going to go down. Something's going to go down to distract us from this, for sure. Okay, Tank, you ain't wrong, or Tan KR, you ain't wrong. That's my assumption as well. But let's finish this last piece. Kind of. Sorry, guys. This is kind of everything's coming out like birdshot. It's all over the place. It's absolutely insane. But let me just show you what I'm talking about right quick. This is breaking news as well. Man, this is sad. Catherine O'Hara, legendary actress, comedian. I've always thought of her as a comedian, okay, or comedian, okay, but she's been in all kinds of movies. If you watched Schitt's Creek, for example, she was great in that show. I mean, there's a bunch of things that she's done that she's just been fantastic. Yes, thank you, Debbie. Yes, she is the Home Alone mom. Yes, Kevin, right? She is the Home Alone mom. Good call. She has passed away, guys. So real quick, just to venture into this really quick. So she was famous for, like I just said, Schitt's Creek, Home Alone, Best in Show. She has passed away, TMZ has learned. The legendary Hollywood actress died Friday. Two sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ the cause of demise, her cause of death, is unclear. She was famously known for playing Macaulay Culkin's mother in the first two Home Alone movies, and she appeared as Moira Rose in 80 episodes of Schitt's Creek. Other notable movie credits include a couple of mockumentaries like Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, and she was in Beetlejuice. Plus Beetlejuice, and the OG Beetlejuice. Yeah, I forgot that she was in Beetlejuice as well. So Catherine's most recent work came opposite Seth Rogen on the show The Studio. Yes, she was in The Studio, which is a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. She earned an Emmy nomination for her work. She won an Emmy for her work in Schitt's Creek. It followed her first Emmy win back in 1982 for writing contributions to the sketch comedy series SCTV Network 90. So yeah, she's been in comedy for a long time. She was born and raised in Toronto, is the sixth of 7 children. And she met her husband, production designer Bo Welsh, on set of 1988's Beetlejuice. They got hitched in 1992, had 2 sons, Matthew and Luke. Last time our photogs saw Catherine was at LAX in February of 2024 when we asked what role she would most want to be remembered for. She was 71 years old. May she rest in peace. This is insane. Catherine O'Hara is gone. And again, she was a consistent working actor. Like, she was a character actor, right? She did a lot of stuff. And so a lot of classics, a lot of new stuff as well. She's been in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I was like, what is that show I just saw her in? And that was the Seth Rogen show on Apple TV called The Studio. I thought she was great in it. She's always just been fantastic, right? And she's always consistently been working. And now she is gone. At 71 years old, she is gone. May she rest in peace. This is very sad. Of course, I'm sure they're going to let us know how she passed, but just so you know. Yeah, Renee, she was really good. She was a great actress, really great actress. Not afraid to really go there, man, may she rest in peace. But let's get back into this, guys. All right. We got a lot to dive in. Let's just finish what Todd had to say here.
Any depiction of CSAM or child pornography was obviously excluded. Anything that would jeopardize
First off, thank God.
an active federal investigation. And finally, anything that depicts or contain images of death, physical abuse, or injury, also not produced.
Death, though? Say what? What kind of content did they have? Unless he's just saying that as a precaution, but why would he say that out loud? Anything that depicted, CSAM, people gone. Why would he say that out loud? That's very interesting, don't you think? I mean, unless that's nothing, but that just, what? Word?
Although the act allows for withholding for items necessary to keep secret in the interest of national security or foreign policy, no files are being withheld or redacted on that basis.
We thank you. That's insane. So you heard Todd Blanche, Trump's attorney, by the way, the same one that flew all the way down to Florida to have a conversation with Ghislaine Maxwell. As she said, I saw nothing nefarious about Trump. He was an absolute gentleman. Is that what you want me to say? And then she got moved to a club fed. And she's being waited on hand and foot by the way. Now, pretty crazy stuff with this Epstein stuff, right? And we got some stuff we're going to have to look into because there's now new claims that are popping off, which is absolutely insane. Hold up. We got a little bit of another clip to look at. ABC News, let's look at it.
You're watching Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche giving an update on the Justice Department's efforts to release the Epstein files. He says the DOJ is releasing more than 3 million more pages of files today, as well as images and videos. Blanche says the department's only withholding files permitted to be withheld under law, including victims' personal information, depictions of abuse or child pornography, and anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation.
But by the way, they're not going to do any active federal investigation into anything. Because if Jizzy said what she said, and if that is true, what her claims are, you already have close to 30 individuals that have already paid their way out of being investigated. There are 4 other people that investigators should have been investigating into, but they didn't even investigate into those mother lovers. So if those claims are true by Jizzy, you really think that they're going to be looking into any of this stuff? Really? This is all fake. If those things that Ghislaine is saying is true. Think about that. Yeah, we withheld this information. Okay. Like we withheld this information, blah, blah, blah. No, man. No. You're going to withhold information because you're going to do an investigation into the stuff that you have? No, you're not. No, you're not. Sorry, but you're not. I don't believe it.
He also defended the department against accusations it doesn't take child sex abuse cases seriously, pointing to more than 290 arrests over the past several months. Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas is there at that press conference, and ABC's Peter Haralambous is here with us for more on that. So Peter, Blanche says he's releasing more than 3 million documents,
That's
but
a lot.
He says people aren't going to be satisfied here. Will this satisfy the terms of the Epstein Files Transparency Act?
That's a great question. I think we'll get a clearer answer to that over the next few hours and days when we actually see what's in these documents. But for now, there are a bunch of concerning signs regarding the compliance with the law. First, we're nearly 40 days late from the deadline Congress set.
That part.
Todd Blanche said that there are 3 million files here that they aren't releasing. That means about half of these files are still being withheld, he says, for concerns about the victims, but that's still a huge tranche of these files.
Like I said, if there's a huge concern for the victims, then why weren't they properly redacting the names of the victims in the files that have already been released? That is what is being claimed right now. So again, it's kind of like a miss me with this nonsense type of crap.
Beyond that, the DOJ is making wide-ranging redactions here. They have a huge amount of discretion when it comes to that, but there's been in the past pushback to some of those redactions. He noted, for example, that they're redacting the face of basically every woman who appears in these documents with the exception of Ghislaine Maxwell. That's a kind of redaction that could raise some concerns about how far this is going and if they're potentially not showing critical information here. The one thing he did say, though, is that they aren't redacting or holding things back for national security reasons. That's the one definitive answer we got from Deputy Attorney General Blanche. But all things considered, while Blanche is saying this is basically the end of the road for the Department of Justice's role in this, there are still a ton of outstanding questions. And the story, to a certain degree, is just beginning in terms of actually going through these documents.
He also said they're not protecting the president. And then sort of gave Pierre a longer answer. We'll ask Pierre about that once he can get to the microphone. But I know you and the team will now be going through all of these documents over the next few days. What are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few things that would be kind of needles in this haystack. For example, we understand that in these previous DOJ investigations, prosecutors have done memos where they've basically outlined their reasoning for charging decisions. Those memos are particularly important, specifically the investigation down in Florida. I think that is the biggest needle in this haystack, but it's hard to understate how many documents we're dealing with here. We're talking about terabytes of data, things that have been reviewed by the Department of Justice at this point for nearly 2 decades by probably dozens, if not hundreds of different investigators. They're just being uploaded en masse to a website. And we basically have to go through those individually to get a sense of what's actually in here. And then beyond what's actually in the documents, the degree to which this is actually complying with the law Congress passed.
Now, Blanche said they are excluding any documents or files or material that could jeopardize or be part of a federal investigation. Just 2 months ago, the Attorney General launched an investigation into Democrats associated with Jeffrey Epstein. How could that affect what's in this latest release? How broad is that in terms of documents that could be left behind here?
No, it's a great question because it could be massively broad, right? And that investigation didn't really have that many strict parameters. It was basically, as you mentioned, back in November, where Attorney General Pam Bondi basically triggered this investigation, which is being led by the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Manhattan. But any documents theoretically related to that investigation could theoretically be withheld. And to the extent that that investigation, which was kind of at the impetus of President Trump, targeted specific Democrats, it's possible that any of those relevant documents are being withheld. Again, triggering more concerns, more potential alarm bells here.
And again, I want to go to our Pierre Thomas, who's actually there. Pierre, we heard you asking Todd Blanche if he can assure that anything in these files relevant to the president is being released, or that everything relevant to the president in these files is being released. What did you make of his response?
He said that it was. I think I asked that question because I think that's the question that most people would expect us to ask, because he serves at the pleasure of the President of the United States. The President of the United States has been mentioned in those files. We know this. We've seen certain images of President Trump in the files. So he gave an unequivocal answer in saying yes. We now have to go through this painstaking process of reviewing 3 million files. And that is the process that we're going to have to go through today. The DOJ is not really giving any signposts of what to look for. It's essentially on the media, those of us who cover DOJ, to do this work. And it will take some time. We'll try to be diligent in doing it. I found it interesting in terms of this presentation in the press conference that the Deputy Attorney General wanted to make the case that they were doing this in a way to try to protect the victims at the same time and be in compliance with the law passed by Congress, overwhelmingly, I might add. And, he deflected somewhat the whole issue of, the issue of whether the Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was, promoting this, that they were going to release these files. And then what happened later in the year of last year, where they said, look, basically, because there's no reason to prosecute anyone further, it would be inappropriate to release these files. And then there was the furor that took place in Washington and across the country. And Congress passed a law and they had to react. And he said that they've responded and responded accordingly.
I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, for me, it's interesting that this is all coming out right now. And it's coming out, like I said, it's coming out like a tidal wave, like an absolute tidal wave, right? I think this is, this is all shocking. Okay, all of this, from Don Lemon getting arrested to the Epstein files being, the huge trove of Epstein files being released. I mean, this is just crazy. All of it is crazy. And there's something that even Nick Sorter has put up, because there's information that's starting to come out. Wow, this is just absolutely nutty. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me just save this so I can blow this particular thing up, because this is very small print. Okay. Which we're going to look at here in just a minute. But there is new information. Even Nick Sorter. I'm just pointing out Nick Sorter, there's always been there's always been a curiosity on my part on why Bill Gates' wife left Bill Gates. There's always been a theory that it's always been about him, like, he's been gallivanting with scallywags. You see what I'm saying? But then there's always been a theory and a rumor about his relationship with Epstein, right? And maybe that's the reason why she got a crap ton of money. And then so what she did with this money is that she started to, become, philanthropic with it, right? Going out there and giving it to a bunch of colleges, etc., right? And I feel like it's kind of, in a way, a big middle finger to him, in a way. Now we got this new dump. Because of this new dump, we're now finding out more information about Bill Gates and his then wife. This is disgusting. Take a look at this. So this is from Nick Sorter, okay? Breaking. The new Epstein file dump reveals Bill Gates was begging J.E. for antibiotics to discreetly slip into his then wife Melinda after Bill contracted that acronym that you don't want from having relations with Russian girls, quote unquote, WTF, I'm sorry. Gates also reportedly sent a description of his weed whacker to Epstein. The emails reveal Bill Gates and Bill Clinton are some really disgusting pigs. Remember the wife? There's the wife, his then wife. And then she moved the F on, and she took a whole lot of his money too. And then she started donating crap tons of that money to HBCUs. Just so you know, historically black colleges, universities, okay? Just so you know. And I feel like she did that to kind of give him the middle finger, because he was out here having relations with the Russians. Is he fluent in Russian? That's the one question I have. Let's get into this. This is very interesting. This is from an email. From J.E., allegedly. And his grammar is trash. So get ready, guys. This is going to sound like he can't even look. His periods. Look at this. Like, if you could see my mouse, can you see my mouse? His periods, his commas, like, this is all bad. He doesn't know. He doesn't know anything. How did he become so successful? Well, he was moving women around. Okay, he was moving people around. That's how he got, you don't need education for that. Okay, you don't need education for that. But my Lord, he should be considered a serial killer for the English language, for the written word. Okay? Because he straight murders grammar. Okay? Oh, dear Lord. So apparently he wanted to give some stuff. Let me make sure I got that right before we even read this one more again. He wanted to discreetly slip to his then wife antibiotics because he started to get a little itch downstairs from that from under cheese. He was getting a little itch because he was allegedly bashing women that he shouldn't have been bashing. So he wanted to crush these antibiotics into her favorite smoothie that she drinks every day. I mean, what the hell's going on here? Because he didn't want to get caught. Her suddenly just going, I don't, you know what I mean? It's really itching down there. You know what I'm saying? From under cheese, Christina. She's like, from what? From what under? From what? From under cheese. Okay. No, it's not because he hasn't washed himself in a while or anything of that sort. No. It's because he was gallivanting with scallywags. So let's take a look at this email. This is allegedly from Epstein to Bill, not Bill Clinton, Bill Gates. So I cannot believe that you have chosen to disregard our friendship developed over the last 6 years. I'm aware that accidents happen. It is how each of us has chosen to deal with this unfortunate event that has me dismayed beyond comprehension. You have decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior, asked me to be the major actor in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation that you've worked so hard to achieve, asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement and have categorically told me that we cannot have any direct ongoing business relationship. In total disregard for its impact on the public perception of my reputation. That's the first time he's used a period right so far, correctly so far. Let's continue. I will have to diligently avoid the truth. Tell people that Bill will not invest with me, period or comma in the wrong spot, and craft an answer that suits your needs. But there's a period, so that there should be a capital B here, but okay. But you did agree to send you a letter. But you did agree to send you a letter of what the hell recommendation should a future employer ask for one. You have told me that Melinda insists on not communicating with you unless Larry is copied or present, though you have consistently maintained that I could not have done a better job and that I was underpaid compared to my contribution. You then, beyond all sense of fairness and frankly decency, said that as quote unquote generous compensation for keeping the Gates reputation intact, you would let me keep what we agreed I had already owned, the investment pieces, and give me 2 years severance, similar to Christine Turner, another casualty. If the shoe was on the other foot, I would have said, Boris, this is not your fault. I confessed to Melinda. You didn't. It was in a moment of weakness. And I will do anything within my power to make it right for you. I have more money than anyone needs. And I assure you, I will structure something so that you will not be penalized for my error. Period. In the middle of the, okay. Lucky for me, I have enough money to provide to you, though it will not heal the injury. It will make you secure in your future. In addition, I will bend over backwards to make sure your next career is rewarding and on an upswing. I appreciate the fact that this drastically alters your plans and am very aware of your career path you gave up to join the foundation. I'm very sorry, but as I believe time heals all wounds, this will eventually pass. In that regard, I suggest you buy I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on. And in addition to 5 years of severance, we'll pay you out of the investment contract we had agreed, 30 to 40% of a $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's dollars. Terms and conditions to be agreed. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. What I did receive, however, was an unfriendly, strongly worded email telling me how employable I am and that I should not look to you for any significant financial help in the future. To add insult to injury, you then I think it's then implore me to please delete the emails regarding the acronym, your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda and the description of your weed whacker. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to such and such, as that is another topic that must remain between the two of us. In return for all of these requests, which I would have done without a second thought, I am not to attend meetings with Melinda. I should continue to provide you the same level of service and dedication that I have done so diligently until you are ready to discard me and our friendship. That is from what in the is this? This is from Epstein to allegedly Bill Gates. What in the hell was that? Yeah, he didn't get a proofreader. He didn't even pass like elementary grammar, you know what I mean? Like he didn't even pass language in grammar school. You know what I mean? In elementary school. What in the hell is this? This is insane. There's more though. There's more. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So now I get why. First off, there was a divorce. Okay, that divorce happened. You feel me? Wait. 2013. Wait, hold on. When did Bill Gates divorce his wife? Oh, that's May of 2021. So that email that was sent was dated 2013. Just so you know, 2013. Huh. Hold on. There's more to that. I didn't realize that. Hold on. There's more. There's another one down below. Let's take a look at this one too. Okay, ready? So this is another one. So the other one was sent in July 18th, on July 18th, 2013. This one's the same day. So I guess he had a lot to say. Okay. And this is to Bill, apparently. It just says he sent these to himself so he can save them, right? But apparently, I guess this is to someone. Maybe Bill? I don't know. I've decided to resign my position effective immediately with BG3 and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I have not come to this decision quickly or without a great deal of thought. During the past few weeks, I have been caught up in a severe marital dispute between Melinda and Bill. I have the greatest respect for my friend of 7 years and wish them both well. In my role as his right hand, in my role as his right hand, I have been asked and wrongly acquiesced into participating in things that have ranged from the morally inappropriate to the ethically unsound, and have been repeatedly asked to do things that get near and potentially over the line into the illegal. Though it was kindly suggested that I make a transition to a new position after my 6 years of servitude, and that Bill would, in his words, give me 2 years severance pay, I feel he doesn't know how to use commas and periods. Anyway, I feel it would be dishonest to myself and my future from helping Bill Gates get substances in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, privyet, to facilitating his illicit trysts. Is that trysts? I think it's trysts. Trysts, I think. With married women. To being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments. What? Sorry, that's very interesting. You're a rock star, bro. You're at a bridge tournament. You know what I'm saying? You at a bridge tournament and you're like, yo, bro, you're a rock star, bro. Yeah, man, the best street addy you've ever had, homie. And the focus is insane. That's how I keep winning, bro. I use that addy. You feel me? Keeps me focused on these bridge tournaments. What? Ain't that the... Okay. From using this substance, Adderall, for bridge tournaments, as I am a medical doctor, but have no prescriptions writing ability. Yeah, he doesn't have any writing ability, period. But prescription writing ability? Bill Gates. Now the truth is finally coming out. Or some piece of it. If you really think about it, diggity damn. This mother lover, Bill Gates, has been a naughty boy. Bill Gates has been a naughty, naughty boy. Now we got more. And what's crazy is the allegations that are coming out about Trump as well. Now, I know some people are going to get in their fifis about this, but it's the truth. It's what's going on, baby. This is absolutely crazy, too. So we got to take a look at these. This is insane. I love my calendar, girl. Right? I'll explain. So Trump, apparently through parties, this is not going to be fun. I'm going to be using a lot of code words here, guys. So get ready. But there's a lot of allegations about Trump in the paperwork, like thousands and thousands of pages about Trump doing very, very bad things. Now, apparently, he liked to throw parties with women, and he would call these parties calendar girl parties. Let's see what this is all about, shall we? So Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the he would bring the littles. He would bring the littles in, and Trump would auction them off. I'm sorry, dun dun dun. I can't even say any of this. I can't even say the last part of this. I can't even say the last part of this, guys. He would measure parts by using his finger. Okay? The guests were older men, and that included Elon Musk, DJT Jr., Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to do things with Trump, forced to allow them to do other things. This particular person says they were 13 years old when they were SA'd by Donald Trump, and also claims that Ghislaine Maxwell was there also. There's more. There's more. There's so much more. Yo, I'm just reading what's being said, okay? I don't have any opinions about this, not yet at least, because this is a very, 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 very big pill to swallow. There's a lot being said here. I don't know if, these are allegations. These are things that have been written, complaints. These are complaint summaries involving Trump and, his connection with Epstein and all that. We don't know if these are true. We don't know if these are fake news. We don't know any of these things. It's the same situation like I was saying about Diddy, right? Diddy had a plethora, a trove of allegations. Not all of them were true. Not all of them were true. Some of them were so wild and so overly elaborate that you could tell from the very beginning they weren't true. But at the same time, they still had to go through their due process, their due diligence to make sure that those allegations were or were not true. So it's the same thing here. It's still shocking, but at the same time, we still have to see what they find, right? But here's the thing. I forgot to say this. They're not going to investigate any of this crap. They're not. There's been plenty of opportunities for them to do so, and they haven't. There's been years, multiple years, and they have not done any investigation at all whatsoever. If Ghislaine Maxwell, if Jizzy is telling the truth about that, it's more than just 29 men, 29 people that paid their way or got their way out of a situation, slithered their way out of a situation because they knew the higher ups that were doing and conducting this investigation. There's more than just 29. But those 29, they refused to look into that stuff. They refused to investigate into these complaints and into those people that they knew were close friends or close co-conspirators with Jeffrey Epstein. So we're reading this stuff and we could be clutching our pearls all day long, but I want to remind you that still does not change the fact that it doesn't change anything because they're not going to investigate any of this. They say, oh, we have some stuff that we can't give out there. We can't give you guys that information. But because we're going to look into these things. Those are all bold-faced lies. They haven't looked into anything, and they won't look into anything because they're protecting God knows who. Let's take a look at this. So, such and such reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to do the O on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis, whoever this person is, I guess the complainant, maybe not, but the friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred. And the friend allegedly bit Trump while performing on him, if you get what I'm saying. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting Trump. The friend said she was also attacked by Jeffrey Epstein. Here's another one. Another person reported that she was a friend of such and such, who was a personal assistant of J.E. in Florida from 1986 to 1991 or 1992. This friend shared names of some of the guests at Epstein's parties, to include Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Another one. At the age of 16, while modeling, a caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was SA'd by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin SA'd her best friend and a third brother, Tal, maybe, Ard, a little named such and such. Caller named other individuals involved in a big gathering of people, if you get what I'm saying, in their birthday suits with her and other littles and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Another one, online complainant reported she was a victim and witness to a STing ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. Between 1995 and 1996, the complainant reported Jizzy as the madam and broker for these S parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in these group gatherings and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been unalived and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump's then head of security, that if she ever talked about what went on there or who she saw, he would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes, like the other see you next Tuesdays. Complainant claims to have video of high-profile S parties, dealings with cartels, and having witnessed Robin Leach put his hands on a little to her demise at a party. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. There's more. Complainant reported his ex-girlfriends such and such were victims of Epstein's, and one was unalived. While working as a limo driver, complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 1995 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning, and described being a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median, and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriends, such and such, told complainant Trump R'd her, as did Epstein. Caller, another complaint. Caller is talking about crimes committed against her. She claims to be a prisoner. She references Lisa Marie Presley, the British royal family, Trump, and J.E. Another one. We're just going to go through them, okay? We're going to read even the unhighlighted ones too. So complainant reported her neighbor sought modeling gigs at the Trump modeling agency in New York City between the years of 1998 and 2000. Complainant reported neighbor allegedly went on cruises set up by a recruiter or head of the agency and once showed complainant a photo of the recruiter whom complainant recalled looking like Epstein. Complainant reported neighbor was allegedly AR'd several times during this time period. Another one. Caller provided information to reference a prior civil case from 13 years ago that involved Trump and mentioned Epstein with a little. Another one. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform acts, of the carnal nature when she was just a little, and was also with child in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in her STing and the unaliving and disposal of her newborn daughter. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform these particular acts with him, and alleged Trump was present when her uncle unalived her newborn child. Another one. Caller was taken by boat to Epstein's Island. By the way, the one about the pregnant woman and her seeing the pregnant kid and seeing that Trump was present when the child was unalived and all that stuff, we've read that before. That leaked, several weeks back. And now we're seeing it again. So what was leaked back then is true. It is true. So let's continue. All right. Please hit that like button down below. This is not easy to read. I'm just going to be honest. It is not easy to read this stuff out loud. Okay. So hit that like button, please. And thank you. Crush it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button too. Okay. We're here to cover all the news. And this is the news that's popping off right now. There's going to be a lot of, I have a feeling we're going to be doing a late live or a live this evening talking about all the other stuff that's starting to come out. Okay, let's continue. So next one. Caller was taken to this is another complaint. Okay, this is another report. Caller was taken by boat to Epstein's Island. Caller said it was complicated and involved J.E. and Jizzy. Caller became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Kitts, and a police officer where the caller was informed there were pictures of herself with Epi. Caller reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person and that the school wanted her to testify and say things against Andrew Cuomo. Whoa, Cuomo's name's being dragged in here too now. Not saying that he did anything, but I'm just saying it's interesting that his name is in this complaint. Anyway, the FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Caller believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. Here's another one. Caller reported that in 1987, a friend, victim one, was out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim one saw Donald Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave victim one a drink, and victim one woke up in her birthday suit, sore, with $300 on the bed. Victim one didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim one called the caller and told her she thought she had been AR'd. Victim one did not go to the hospital to have an R kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim one's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and victim one believed Trump was behind it. Victim one also stated dating a lawyer, identifier unknown, who was married, Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to the bar. Victim 1 left a bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years later, remains were discovered that matched the description of Victim 1. I guess she was wearing, of what she was wearing, when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. So again, that is just the tip of the iceberg so far, guys. There are allegedly thousands and thousands of complaints about about Trump in these files. Again, these are allegations. And again, did they look into this? Did they do a deep dive and do their diligence when they received the information like this, right? That is a question. Hold on. Yeah. People are sharing the same stuff. Hold on. The calendar girls thing is wild. Very, very wild. Very wild. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Just trying to get some stuff here. There's a lot. Man, there's so much crap going on, baby. So much going on. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Yeah. 3 million files have been dropped, y'all. 3 million pages have been dropped. 2,000 videos are allegedly in this mug as well. Think about that too. This is just absolutely shocking. In fact, I'm kind of curious to see what, I know some of y'all gonna be like, why are you looking up Fox News? I'm just curious to hear what they got to say about this too. But I don't see any. They just have the press conference so far. They have the press conference. I'm trying to see if there's. I just want to hear what the other side of the aisle is saying. You know what I mean? How they're reacting to this whole thing. And right now, I don't really see anything from them. Give me a second. Yeah, it's all the press conference, but there are no reactions thus far on that. Hold on, guys. Okay, let's check out CBS.
Now let's go to Washington, where Deputy Attorney.
Though,
Hold on.
and to ensure transparency, if any member of Congress wishes to review any
That are resigning in Minneapolis. Attorney General Todd Blanche. He started out talking about the release of more Epstein files, but then he also took some questions. Many of those questions were asking about the investigation into the recent shooting of Alex Pretti. But right now I want to bring in CBS News senior coordinating producer Anna Schechter for us. Anna, what were your takeaways from what we just heard there?
Shush!
Well, this was a wide-ranging press conference when the questions started, and it was actually quite remarkable. The big bomb that got dropped initially was that more than 3 million pages of documents are being released, and this is only 3 million of the 6 million pages of documents related to Epstein that the government has obtained. That's according to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche there, who we were just listening to. So that is a huge amount of evidence. It includes medical records, photos, videos, but the vast majority are actually documents. Now, here's the thing. Blanche said that this is not going to quell the curiosity of a lot of members of the public who want to know more and who are frustrated that they haven't gotten more information about Epstein and other people who might have aided him in his orchestration of sex trafficking, often of minor women. And the victims have said they've been frustrated with this entire process. And one of the reporters asked Blanche, how do you react to that? And he sort of brushed that aside. He said, look, the victims have experienced unimaginable pain, but he defended the Trump administration and his department and said, when they redact, it's to protect victims. He did not protect Trump. So those were the highlights on Epstein. So this is a big day. And just a reminder to our viewers, all of this was supposed to be released back December 19th. That was 30 days after a new law the Transparency Act was passed. So we're now late, but it's because it took so much time to redact. Mugo.
I'm gonna be real. This took a long time. I get it that they probably had to go through 3 million, plus, 6 million, maybe 10 million. I don't know how many million pages. Like, I get that they have to go through a lot of that stuff, but they had plenty of time to do that for the longest time. They had plenty of time to do this a while ago. And I'm sure they had people working, around the clock to get this, to get this all put together, to redact and go through all the files and everything and maybe throw some things away, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like, you can kind of miss me with the nonsense with them being like, oh, we were doing the best we could. We were trying our best to get it out to you guys as quickly as possible. You had plenty of time to do it, and you didn't do it. So, you can kind of miss me with all of that nonsense. Just to be completely honest. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about this. Let's take a look at this.
Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. Congressman, how do you view today's announcement of...
Remember, he looks shocked. Whoa. I just want to remind you, he is also one of the representatives that were out there in the forefront trying to get these files out. Okay.
The 3 million plus documents that were released.
That's weird.
Can you hear me, Congressman?
Thank you. Well, look, I can. Can you hear me?
Can. Yes, we can.
There's a delay like a mug.
Well, look, I am glad that documents are being released. I'm going to be looking at whether the appropriate documents were released. What are we looking for? The FBI statements. We need to see whether the 302 forms are being released. That's where the survivors mention who the other rich and powerful men are who abused or raped them. We know from even Maxwell that there are many other men who cut secret deals. Who are these people? Those are in the 302 files. And second, are the prosecution memos being released? This is the document that shows why these rich and powerful men weren't prosecuted.
Blanche said today that there is a built-in assumption that there's some hidden tranche of information on men that's being covered up. He says that that's not the case. What does that mean in your mind for these survivors that you have been trying to pursue justice for?
Well, the survivors just want a transparent release. If Blanche believes that there is no cover-up, then he should release the 302 files. The 302 files are where the survivors name who these rich and powerful men are. I've talked to the survivors. They say that they have named those people in the FBI witness interviews. So if those witness interviews are released, the American people can see for themselves who the survivors named and can come to their own judgment of their guilt. But if Blanche continues to not release the 302 statements, to not release the prosecution memos, then it's a cover-up. And so it's not the quantity of documents, and no one is asking him to name exactly who all is in the files. We're just asking him to release the survivor witness interviews.
Blanche had this message for lawmakers like yourself. Let's listen.
If any member of Congress wishes to review any portions of the responsive production in any unredacted form, they're welcome to make arrangements with the department to do so, and we're happy to do that.
Congressman, are you going to take him up on that offer?
I will. Look, Thomas Massie and I have offered to meet with him and Pam Bondi. We have not had any meeting. We've offered to meet with the team that is doing it. Really, what I would like to see is these 302 statements. What I would like to see is these prosecution memos. And if Deputy Attorney General Blanche is open to meeting with Massie and me, I would welcome that. If he wants to have his team meet with us and show us where those documents are, I would welcome that.
A judge recently denied a request from you and Republican Congressman Thomas Massie to appoint an independent monitor to ensure the DOJ does comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Are there any other options you might be exploring following today's announcement from Blanche?
Well, first, I want to see the documents, because if the documents are responsive, then it'll be progress. And I don't want to prejudge it until I see what was released. But if the documents are not responsive, then you have survivors who could bring a lawsuit. Massie and I could bring a lawsuit. The judge said he almost welcomed us to bring a lawsuit if we wanted to pursue it. And we can continue the action in federal court. And there's obviously also holding Pam Bondi in contempt or impeachment. But just like in the first release, I did not make negative prejudgments until seeing the documents. I'm hoping after all of the pressure from the judges, after all of the pressure from Congress, that they're now going to act in some good faith. But we have to see what documents they're releasing.
Did Blanche's comments help instill a little bit of faith that the DOJ is rolling out these documents in compliance with what your colleagues have mandated?
Well, we've caught their attention. I mean, look, President Trump signed the law. He signed my bill. It passed 427-1 in the House. It passed 100-0 in the Senate. You have Judge Engelmeyer and Judge Berman in the Southern District of New York saying release these things and release them appropriately. I think the Justice Department is responding to the extraordinary political and judicial pressure to obey the law. But I can't say whether they're acting in good faith until I see the documents. And again, I hope that we don't have to keep coming on these programs and relitigating it. Just release the 302 files and the prosecution memos. We'll see if they did.
Thank you.
I think that's one thing that I'm concerned about too. It's like, okay, have they released like all of it? Are they releasing all the stuff where the victims are naming names? Now, we heard some names in the stuff that we saw, right? We heard some names, you know, the likes of Robin Leach and the sort, which is absolutely shocking to hear that stuff. But, you know, and obviously there's information about Bill Gates already out and everything too. But I am kind of curious about what they're hiding, what else they're not releasing out here. But I guess, well, you know, only time will tell when everyone starts combing through the countless files and videos that are out here, right? Now I'm wondering where. See, that's the thing. I'm wondering where you can get like to see what these videos are all about. I mean, of course, I don't want to see anything that's super crazy, but I am curious about what these files are actually showing. You know what I mean? But hold on. I'm checking something here, guys. Hold on. Boom. Yeah, this is weird. Hold on. Let's try that. Huh. Yeah, so I'm curious about that. But real quick, I do want to share this though, because this is part of what we were going to talk about. You know, obviously Alex Pretti, he lost his life a lot of people are reacting to that. And there is a lot of protests and a lot of demonstrations that are starting to pop up everywhere. One thing's for sure, protests are happening. Oh no, where did it go? Where did it go? Protests are actually happening. Hold on, y'all. Something just disappeared on me. Where did it go? One second, guys. Sorry. Where the heck did it go? Let's try that again. Nope. That's going bye-bye. So I got to pull this up. Sorry, I lost, somehow the window disappeared on me. Wow. Hold on, guys. All right. Wow. Okay, hold on. I gotta find it again. Okay, here it is. So there was a whole, I guess, walkout that just happened in Atlanta. Like I said, it's gonna be this is a busy day. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. But to me, it looks like it's just a whole bunch of kids, you know, walking out of school. Okay. And yeah. Another anti-ICE protest. Now the kids are getting involved. By the by, there's going to be another press conference here in about 25 minutes, a little like 24 minutes from now. Apparently, Tulsi Gabbard and Kristi Noem are supposed to be holding a press conference here in just a little bit. We got to talk about what's going on with that too, because voter machines, voter stuff, voter fraud, etc. They're trying to, expose that. I guess they're trying to say that they have, unearthed this information. But again, just so you know, this is a school walkout that's happening in Atlanta, or it has happened in Atlanta. It just ended a little bit ago. And I'm sure there's other, Alant just said that there was a Denver high school walkout as well. I'm not surprised. Okay, so yeah, this is national walkout. Yeah, there's like a whole national walkout and strike thing going on today. So that's why I mean by there's going to be so much stuff going on simultaneously today, all at the same time. But yeah, let's not forget Tulsi Gabbard was the one that was in the with the evidence for a while by herself. I'm just saying that, not saying that it what they found isn't true, but I could see why some people are going to side-eye that situation because of everything that's going on right now. Okay. But let me play a little bit more of this. We got more to go. Yeah, you get the general idea. Okay, so students are walking out in Atlanta in protest, against everything that's going on. There was one that was scheduled in Vegas as well. 1 second. At least that it was scheduled, but I guess it may have been taken down or canceled. Here's what's going on in Minneapolis right now. Yeah, this is going to be a busy day. It's going to be a busy night. Take a look.
We're going to stay here. We'll get everybody up to date. Please be aware of your Second Amendment rights. There's tons of militias that already exist. We just got to give them some more attention.
There goes all of my stuff. Anybody with the yellow satchel has Sharpies if you want to try it.
Oh, it's whatever we're comfortable with using. I know, for me, that'll be like a rifle then, probably for me. I mean, handguns, I gotta look and see rifle laws in Minnesota. Appreciate that, bro. Gotta look into what I can own in Minnesota.
I gotta mute that because I don't know this music. I don't know if that's like copywritten stuff or anything, but yeah, Mercado. He's been doing his thing out there, y'all. He's definitely been doing his thing. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure. Let's see here. I'm curious because I know that they had. Oh wow, they're still live. Wow, they are still live. So Don Lemon, his show is still going on. Like he is there alive, and there's like 20,000 people that are watching, and it's been going on for well over 4 hours, which is insane. So yeah, they are. People are very upset about what happened. You know, a lot of people in the Don Lemon Nation are not happy about his arrest. That is for sure. Hold on. Let's see here. Let us see here. Let's see here. This is something going on here too. Let's take a look at this.
I don't say that with a large amount of pride. I was 17 when I joined. But when I did join, I remember pledging an oath to protect this nation from all enemies,
domestic
both foreign
and domestic.
And now I find myself needing to protect it from all enemies, both sworn and elected.
All right, as you see, they're listening into this ICE out protest there in Minnesota, speaking not only on the journalists who were arrested today, but also in general on some of those ICE operations that are happening around the area. We also have this up on your screen as well. This is a live look there right now as the vigil for Alex Pretti continues to grow there in Minnesota. You can see all of the flowers and signs and different folks coming to visit that site and show their, again, showing up there as that vigil is continuing to grow. In the meantime, also want to show this shot to you. This is all the way across the country in Southern California. You're taking a live look there as a podium is set. Earlier today, we brought it to you as breaking news as it came out that Don Lemon, the journalist, was arrested in connection to the St. Paul church protest that happened over last weekend. In the meantime, though, we're continuing to watch as this, again, is set there. There's been no updates at this point on where Don Lemon currently is, whether or not he's inside of this courthouse or will have a hearing today. But right now, we do know that there is a microphone that is set up. So if there are any updates that come, we'll take you out to it here on Live Now from Fox. Let's slide away for a quick 2-minute commercial break.
Interesting. Interesting, right? Interesting. So there might be a press conference coming from them as well. My lord, it don't stop. It don't stop, y'all. Dang, it don't stop. The news train ain't stopping anytime soon. Let me grab some of these super chats so I can chisel this down bit by bit, because I know a lot of you guys have been sending in some super chats and some members chats, and I figured by the time we end the show, it'd be, you know, and I waited to the end of the show, there would have been like 30 plus super chats. So I appreciate all of it. That's why I'm just kind of slowly cutting them down. You know what I mean? So Black Lake, thank you so much for the love. Don said on video that they shouldn't go in and should stay outside. Should have consulted lawyers before they wanted to go viral. I don't remember him saying that to the people, but if he did say that out loud, that's very interesting. If he did say that, Black Lake. So thank you so much for that. Timbo, thank you again. They'll likely get a fine for trespassing. That's what I think too. Like there will be a fine for trespassing, and then eventually, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, if they get just, you know, if they have some bad lawyers, or there was much worse that they did, then they're screwed. Then they're screwed, you know? Same thing with Don Lemon. He's screwed if he doesn't have the right kind of representation. And, you know, in a way, it's kind of like either him being live on video will either save his ass or will destroy him. He's either cooked or he's going to be saved by that footage. That's going to be, I feel, a massive playing part to his trial, you know? To his situation. Messi, thank you so much. Okay, you showed all the bias stuff like deep state, non-practicing lawyer Harvey. How about you do actual practicing lawyer Nate, the lawyer now? I need to check out that video first I got to check it out first. Let me check the video out first. I know you mentioned him before. I'll check it out for myself and then put it up, or maybe find a snippet to put on and check out on the show. Like I said, Nate makes great content. He does. So I am very interested to hear what he has to say about that. But at the same time, I've played a lot of content all over the place. So spanning the entire spectrum of opinion. So I'll check it out when I get some time. Dolores, thank you so much for the love. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Chelsea, thank you so much. Allegedly, his initial hearing is at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Interesting. Really now? So then he'll be back. He'll be out. He'll be out for sure. He'll be out. And when he's out, I'm sure, because like right now, I have the feed. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I have the feed of LA. So if they come out and he gets to speak after what happened, that's what they're setting up for. So they're all waiting for that to happen. And I don't think he's going to be in court for very long. This should be a very quick in and out type of situation. And either he's going to go back in jail, which I doubt, but he's going to have lots to talk about. He's going to have so much to talk about, by the way. You realize that he's going to have so much to talk about on that red carpet now. So as he's talking, to these artists, at the Grammys, there's going to be so many people being like, "Are you okay? I heard about what happened, Don. Are you okay?" So I doubt that they're going to sit there and go that he can't leave, like that he's going to be locked up for good. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be able to bail out and then he'll be free. Hopefully he will be at the Grammys on Sunday doing what he loves to do, talking to people, right? So that's interesting that the initial hearing is basically a little over an hour from now. So that's good to know. Thank you so much. Whimsical Chaos, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much. General Genobi, what's up? Thank you so much for the love. Man, there are files that DJT, auctioned 14 littles, at Mar, and kids were there, and Elong, Look, no president should ever have a sniff of these allegations to their name. This has been going on for decades. Yes, I agree 110%. And yet no one's looking at this and going, what the hell's going on here? This is crazy. These are crazy allegations. No one really is. No one's sitting here saying like, what a travesty. This is like, I'm not saying, I'm saying the administration, the powers that be, right? Attorney General Pam Bondi isn't sitting there going, clutching her pearls and being shocked. No. There's no added investigation into any of this crap. Zero, zilch, nada, zippity doodah. What the heck is going on here? That's very strange, don't you think? I'd like to think that's a bit strange. Medusa, thank you so much for the love, for the super stickers, for both super stickers. I really appreciate it. Freddie, thank you so much for becoming a member. And just like Freddie, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. Support if you can. That'll be greatly appreciated, okay? And of course, Crisis Cast says, I think it's time to stand up. I feel like a lot of people are starting to stand up. I know that you've made some super chats in the past that sound a bit aggressive, and I don't know if that's what you mean, but right now, there's a lot of people that are standing up. A lot of people are. Now, if you notice, the kids are doing walkouts right now. National walkouts and strikes that are going on. People are saying, don't buy nothing today. Don't go anywhere where you have to spend money. Don't do any of that in your local cities, in your local towns, right? Walk out. Schedule a walkout of your school, blah, blah, blah. Against ICE. F this stuff. F ICE. That kind of thing. So people are standing up. People are really standing up. Is it loud enough? No, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a negative Nancy, y'all. But no, I don't think it's loud enough. Or no. Let me say that again. I don't mean that it's like I'm not trying to incite anything. What I mean is like, do you think that the powers that be are hearing this? No. Sure, they acknowledge it, but is it going to change anything? No. Trump's worried about his following. He's worried about his base. He's worried about his polls. He's worried about his midterms. The only way that we can really, the people can really make him feel anything is voting. It's those midterms. Because he's not listening to this. He's not listening to all the demonstrations out in the streets. He knows what's going on. And then he sits there and says that these people are insurrectionists, that they're domestic terrorists, etc. So we can sit here all day long, angrily pumping our fists in the air in unison. Sure, we should be doing that. But at the same time, we're doing it to a person who's not listening. We're singing a song and he doesn't even know the song. You see what I'm saying? We're all, a good portion of us are all on the same page in the same chapter, and he ain't even in the same book. So if we were to do something, if the people out there were to get together and fight, stand up, I feel like the only way we can really make a reaction or make this happen is if we were to show that through our voting. That's where our real power is. At least that's what we like to believe. Our real power is there. And that is what needs to be done. Let's see. Yeah, we got to vote. We got no other choice but to put that to vote. We have no other choice. That's all we got. We got to vote. We got to vote, ladies and germs. Sure, it's annoying, but that's the only way we can really, really make him know how we feel is through voting. Now, let me see this here. Let's see. Hold on. Dang, man. Yeah, the news be newsing out here today. So one thing is for sure, there's supposed to be a press conference here in about 5 minutes. And I may play a little bit of it, not the whole thing, because unfortunately I got to hop off here. I got things to do, but then I want to come back for the Don Lemon, when he comes back out. Now, that's the thing. If he does speak or his representatives speak for him, we will be here to talk about that for sure. But yeah, even TMZ right now is reacting and talking about the claims of this this little performing, you know what I'm saying, that, with Epstein there and all that. Okay. People are really talking about that ish as well. So let me see here. Let me see. Let me just check something here really quick. Because yeah, they're supposed to be Yeah, where is that press conference? She's allegedly supposed to have a press conference with Tulsi Gabbard. Hold on, Tulsi. Hold on. You know what? I think I think what I'm going to do is I will do a recap of that when if it's something necessary, if something's really going on. There is going to be a press conference here in a little bit, but I've been here almost 4 hours straight. I need to go and take a break, and I got some things I got to take care of. So I think I'm going to go and do that really, really quick. Okay. But then I'll be back to cover a whole lot because there's so much going on, y'all. There's so much going on. So get ready this afternoon. I'll be back to talk about all this stuff that's going on, and if Don Lemon does a press conference or his lawyers do a press conference, because I don't see him not coming out and speaking. I don't see, like, if he's let go, which I think that will happen. He'll be let go for sure. I don't see him not, you know what I mean? I don't see him not speaking out. That will be the weirdest thing for him. I just feel like it's so out of pocket for him not to speak out. You know what I'm saying? I see him seeing this as an opportunity to actually do his thing and speak out. So again, let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Let me grab this here really quick. Hold on. We're not done yet. I keep thinking I'm going to be wrapping up and then something brand new happens. Let's take a look at this. Thank you, Messi, for sending this to me. Oh, come on. Well, I don't have a Reuters account, so I'm just going to read what is being said. So apparently from Agenda Free, because I can't open this article, but it's saying Reuters, according to Reuters, they're saying Don Lemon had been under FBI surveillance for several days leading up to his arrest, according to a person with knowledge to his arrest and to the whole situation. So that is just absolutely insane. Not surprising that they were keeping tabs on him because they really wanted to take him down. Remember, Pam Bondi was pissed when the judge said, "Nah, you can't charge him for what he did. He didn't do anything wrong," according to that particular judge. But they found another judge, and that judge said, "Go ahead and get him." And then they got him in LA. So allegedly, they're going to be doing a press conference here very soon, or at some point here. And when that does actually happen, we will be here to cover it. I might be a little late, but we will be here to cover it. Where the heck? Hold on. This thing is tripping. What the heck? Hold on. Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. So of course they're going to have some sort of press conference here very soon. So when it does happen, I'll be back on to talk to you guys about it and everything. Let's take a look at this super chat here really quick. Thank you so much, Deborah. Article 2, Section 4. Wait. Okay. Get rid of the whole administration. We need to change. We need to protect our Constitution. Yes, we most definitely need to. Okay. There's so much going on, and I feel like there's so many violations and so many laws that are being broken, so many things that are violating constitutional rights on so many levels. But here's the thing, they call him Teflon Don for a reason. You see what I'm saying? So I just doubt that they're going to be able to really take him down in that legal sense. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon. I think he's going to keep pushing the envelope until somebody higher up, or the higher ups and all the elected officials that we do have on both sides, start saying enough is enough. That's what we need to see. That's definitely what we need to see, where we see both sides actually come together, like what happened with Alex Pretti. They all come together in unison, basically saying, "Nah, man, you are completely out of pocket for this. This is wrong." But we haven't seen that yet. Okay. Thank you, Truth Faith, for reminding me about the poll. So out of 1,500 votes. Damn, that's a lot of people. I asked, do you agree with Don Lemon's arrest? 73% of y'all say this is wrong. That's what's up. 73% of y'all think that this arrest is wrong. Okay? Interesting. Interesting, guys. Well, the people have spoken. Anyway, guys, that is the show. We have got to get going, but I'll be back a little bit later. There's a lot going on, a lot. So please do me a favor. Before we head out, hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button. When there's press conferences, we will be showing up and talking about those for sure. A lot of things percolating, a lot going on. All right? So make sure you hit that like button down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here. Hit that notification bell. Set it all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Yes, PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.